Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Yeah!
There it is.
Oh, ultimate Cleveland sports show. You ever have a great opportunity to be talking about stuff that was really cool and then you can't say it on air? I just had one of the funniest conversations I've ever had in my life.
It's Earl made it
And
hilarious.
it was all because of Earl.
Earl made it hilarious.
Earl did too much. We got Anthony. That is not McNuggets in there. Can you think McNuggets can grow a beard?
No.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, come
he
on.
usually shaves it.
I don't be seeing
He's
it.
had some 5 o'clock shadow when he comes in.
Listen, the hardest thing in the world is do the blonde beard. The blonde beard
can he pull it off?
It's
I
very
don't know about
difficult
that.
to get. Certain
I
people
misunderstood
only
the
got the
question.
genes for that.
That would be very interesting. You know, McNuggets, he's swamped and he upstairs, so that's why he ain't in the seat. But that would be interesting to see McNuggets with a beard. Now, McNuggets is, what is he, 30 now? If he ain't got it by now, I don't think it's happening.
29 with his COVID years, according to him.
It ain't happening. You got to at least start getting, like, specks of hair, like early 20s.
But I don't know, man.
I didn't grow a beard till I was probably about 35.
Well, listen, McNuggets is in a relationship. If he gets married and have kids,
If she tells him to grow a beard,
it'll just pop up.
if she tells him to grow a beard, he'll grow a beard.
Hold on.
If she tells him to shave it, he'll
You guys
shave
want to
it.
hear something really
I don't
crazy?
be understanding these rules, man. Like, where did these joints come from?
What you talking about?
Like if your girl say like shave your joint and you gotta shave it,
Yeah, my wife told me I can't shave mine.
There you go.
bro. So if you listen, I
My wife said you can't shave
I'm
that
a
beard.
bad relationship person. I don't be helping my friends out. I'm like, listen, we gotta do something where Tyvis gonna have to shave his beard, and I want to see what she say.
You know what? She's been more open as of lately. She was like, when you get older, like I could see you just rocking just the goatee.
Right.
You know,
See, listen, that means that's the only reason she married you. He got that. She was telling this girl, he got this nice chin strap. I like that, man.
yeah, that was back in college. That's when I had that chin. When that chin strap connected, oh my God, you couldn't tell me nothing. Oh, I thought I was James Harden.
I turned 26 August 9th, right? So that's like 2 weeks away. I found my first gray hair in my beard. I've had gray hairs in my head already.
Hey, you gonna be up? Hey, listen, what you need to do? Don't even do that, man. Go ahead and let that connect, man. You could be like
The grays?
Yeah, he could be.
I had one, listen, I caught one in my mustache last year, and
pause.
that was bad, wasn't it?
That was one of the worst.
You know what? That's
all time.
That's blasphemy.
Wow.
You know what? I take that back. I had a gray hair.
Really?
Start the show over. Start the show.
Really?
Start the show over. That's
11:03 and we are off the rails.
Listen, that could be AD and BC right
was
there.
terrible.
We're gonna have to reset the history clocks. This is crazy.
I need the thing off Man in Black. I got to flash
Here
the
we go. Let's
world.
get them together.
Good night.
Here you go.
I don't even know what we was talking
Here you go,
about.
Tyvis. Hold on. Look at the light. We can flash. You're done.
That was bad.
So as we were saying, Tyvis, the chin strap. And
Yeah.
That never happened.
Something about a gray. We talk about gray
Gray hair,
hair.
yeah,
I had
gray
a,
hair.
so I seen
Yeah.
a gray hair of my mustache last year, and I thought I was going through my midlife crisis, you know, because it was like when you see that first one, it's like, do I pluck it or do I just let it ride? You know,
if you let it ride and get the salt and pepper, that's how. If you get if I would take Stefanski's facial hair and tape it on mine.
well, they say if you pluck it, they say it come back like multiple. So
You lost me at midlife crisis. How old are you?
29.
Man, get out of here.
Listen.
Yeah,
Wait till you turn 40.
My
40 will
entire
screw
my
with you.
entire life, I never really thought that. Before I got married and had kids, I told myself about 25, I want to check out.
What?
I wanted to live life hard and fast.
This show got dark.
We need some.
The behind the glass crew has lost all things back here. Gee, why don't you let the people know what we got coming up today? First?
Okay. I'm talking. Yeah.
D, 25, baby. Look, now you forever young. You know.
Hey,
just forever young. Let us live young, or let us die young, or let us live forever. That's where I was at.
Or if you or anyone else are having feeling, you know what I'm saying? Let's get to the intro. Hey man, shout out to Anthony. You running the show today. McNuggets is somewhere. I don't know where he's doing, but
he's swamped. He got a bunch of stuff he cutting up and all that.
We're gonna
upstairs.
hold it down for him. Coming up, we're gonna talk a little. we gonna get into this Nick Chubb thing. We've been talking about running backs for a long time, and basically, you know, it's a lot of running backs on the streets, a lot of running backs trying to get that money right now. However, we asked the question, and Jason already knows what his answer is. Is Nick Chubb the exception, right? You know, he was actually there as well. I don't know how this worked out. I'm interested in delving into this. Is he like Saquon Barkley's new agent or something? Because obviously he was on the call, or he was with him during the time when he got his little 1-year extension. So does that mean running backs are now sticking together? They got their own union. We'll dive into what's going on with the running back room and the running back classes. So also, Zach Jackson, Jason Lloyd's partner in crime, will be from training camp in West Virginia. Jason, you got to ask him, you know, you got to get him to say something. You know, Zach Jackson.
Hey, Zach, say something.
Yeah, say something, Zach. You know, he'd be like, well, guys, I'm not going to say much, but I like Zach Jackson. I like what he's doing.
I'm leaving tonight for Greenbrier.
I'm
going down tonight. That's why I'm in today.
So yeah, y'all about to be in trouble. Y'all, I don't know. You gonna have to find
Can I go with you?
Come on, there's room.
How did they just decide? Did you just say I'm pulling up?
Yeah.
Is that really what you did?
Yeah, that's kind of. Hey, shout out to your credentials.
But wait a minute. So when are they coming back?
Sunday is their last practice there.
And then they coming back, and that's where the fans can start coming to.
Yeah, I think they're off Monday, and then back in Berea.
I should have won. I should have won.
Listen,
I don't think they would have let me go.
You work for the Browns radio network.
What
How
are
many
you
times
talking?
have we gone over this?
That doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. By the way,
You have a key to the house. You can unlock the door whenever you want.
and you low-key played there. Why are we exiting that off the?
When I was there, you know, that's when I went to go watch that mini camp practice. It was so many people from the front office. Like, I remember you when you was here. That was like 6 years ago.
Tyvis be down playing. Listen, there's a reason I didn't go to the league. I would be just walking in people's buildings. I'll be in Chicago at Nike Town. Let me go see what the Bears talking about. Hey, what's going on? What's up, Justin? I'm trying to get in the locker room. My code don't work. What do you mean? You got all the reason in the world.
Listen, at Old State, I got my fingerprint to work, so now I can get back in the doors.
This dude, Tyvis, X'd himself off the list.
The most amazing part of what you just said is the Browns still have employees from 6 years ago. That's the
crazy.
most amazing part. Because they tend to fire people like every other year.
They must be good at what they do. I should say that. They're good at what they do.
32 and 32. What impact will Jordan Akins have on this year? Now, this is this Earl's boy. He loves this. He does
love him.
He loves him. He has him playing better than Njoku and Harrison Bryant together. So we'll see what's up with Jordan Akins. We'll talk about that. And then this is a what if Steve Becker special. This is kind of funny. I think it's a good topic though. What if Moddell never moved the team from Baltimore, and what if Elway hadn't led the Broncos to the drive in the AFC Championship game? We'll talk about that. You know, kind of the alternate universe. There's a good movie. There's a good book about that. I think it's called The Man in the Tower, where it says, what if the United States would have lost World War II?
I don't know. I can't read, so I wouldn't. I got to get it on audio.
Yeah, get it on audio book. Does that count? Maybe. I don't know. So we'll talk about what happens with that. I think it's kind of cool. And then 12:15, a little bit after that, we'll talk about the top targets for the Guardians to trade for. And then we'll do some graphics about some of the guys that we think can be available. Jason will just rattle them off, and then we'll just tell you yes or no, because we ain't got no names.
All right.
I got one.
I don't got no names. And then we got top five. What's the top five?
Oh my God!
Top
Between
five is
Amani
really-
Bates and Shohei Ohtani.
There it is.
Amani Ohtani. You two.
Oh, that is one of the greatest players of all
I'm
time.
telling you.
Amani
Oh
Ohtani.
my goodness.
6'9". Listen,
He can do it all. He can do it all.
Can get you.
Look, can go hit you 2 home runs, strike out 10 people, go to the court, hit the meanest step back, catch and shoot on Hall of Fame.
$1.5 billion a year.
Man, he'll own the league. What you talking about? They ain't got enough to pay him.
Amani Otani.
And then, so Anthony, what we got?
Yeah, towards the end of the show, we have a great package about Tyvis' softball game
Oh,
from last
they
week,
was
too.
there.
Don't forget about that. Ty, you're going to love this.
No, I'm not.
Everybody's going to love it.
No, I'm
trust
not.
me.
No,
And then
you're-
top 5 is related to Shark Week this week with the special number 1. But before we get into all of that, guys, we're going to start our first topic off today. Do you think Nick Chubb is the exception to the you can't pay a running back rule?
Who wants to start this? Who want to start this?
I'll start.
Okay, here you go.
Is Nick Chubb the exception to you can't pay a running back? I'm going to say no, he's not, because of the fact that I think that guys that are exceptions are the guys that do more than just run the football. I think those are the pass catchers, the Christian McCaffreys, the Aaron Joneses, there's another guy I'm missing. Kamara. You got to have guys like those. You got to be able to do one thing. Now, the reason that Nick Chubb's contract looks so good right now and it's worth so much is because the Browns, the organization, the Cleveland Browns, do a great job of protecting him. See, the problem with why these running backs are flaming out so fast is because, like, you think of you think of Zeke Elliott, you think of a Derrick Henry, these guys were the offense. Like, they literally was getting the ball 30, 40 times a game, and that was for years, years. And now they get to 4 or 5 years in, their bodies have taken that beating. Well, the Cleveland Browns are doing the smart thing where we complain about Nick Chubb not getting the ball 20 times a game, but they are trying to extend Nick Chubb's career and try to have him be, successful and be a top running back in this league for more than just 2 or 3 years. So I think that's why he can, quote unquote, be the exception because of the organization that he's in. But if he was with Dallas or Tennessee or whoever runs the ball heavily, he'd be flamed out after 4 or 5 years and he'd be just like the rest of them.
Jason?
Have you ever heard of a team saying, here's your market value, but we love you so much, here's an extra $5 million?
No.
That doesn't happen.
It ain't going to happen.
It ain't going to happen. Now, I do. So there's 2 conversations here. Is Nick Chubb the exception when paying running backs? No. Is there ground to come up to a deal? Maybe. Like, he's going to have to take a restructure. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to take less probably next year. And we're having a conversation about 2024. This is 2024. Mm-hmm. If he's willing to take less, if he's willing to do a restructure type thing, maybe. But are they going to just pick up the tab at his current number, which I think is like $16 million next year? No.
Depends on what the offense look like.
It's a Deshaun Watson offense as far as I'm concerned going forward.
But if he actually is, Nick Chubb is actually that fourth quarter, second half guy, and he's really being successful, really helping them win games.
Yes.
He has to.
You have to leave it at that because he's a huge part.
He has to do better than he did this year. Like, he has to. If he says he has 1,700.
That's ridiculous.
I know it's a lot of yards.
Especially because Watson's throwing for 7,000.
That's ridiculous.
Say you amortize that 7,000 that Watson gonna get. We put that aside. Put that aside right now.
How many touchdowns did Chubb have last year?
Did he have 12?
12.
So say he gets 16.
You got to keep him at the number then.
If he outperforms, do you think they're gonna make him take a pay cut if he outperforms last year?
No, you can't. There's no way you can ask somebody to do that. That was like when Amari Cooper, when they needed money. I was like, you can't ask Amari Cooper to take no pay cut.
Okay, fine. What are the odds that he's going to rush for more than 1,500 yards and score more than 12 touchdowns with 17 games of Deshaun?
He dedicated this season to Jim Brown. He has no choice.
He got the ghost of Jim Brown on his.
He said that this season is for Jim Brown, so he has no choice. At this point, you have no choice.
What you did not know is that I took the monster card, Jim Brown, and added him into my attack points. I brought him from the graveyard, and now, compared to what you have, I'm going to put 5 people back.
They got. How many? You need 8 Dragon Balls, and they done brought Jim Brown back, and he's in Nick Chubb's body.
Well, touchdowns are a little different because, like, you could punch one in from the 1 or the 2.
Oh,
that's how the dude for the Lions looked so good last year.
Yeah, but
Jamal Williams.
I'll tell you right now, if Nick Chubb has 1,600, 1,700 rushing yards this year, something went terribly wrong with Deshaun Watson. Like, right? Like, let's be realistic here.
Well,
either he got hurt or he's a disaster or people got fired. If Nick's running for 1,600 yards.
Or the Browns are the greatest show on turf or grass or whatever. 1,600 and you still winning? I don't know what, like, is he breaking 3 long runs a game?
Well, listen, the thing is.
But you know, with the extra game, I mean, I don't know. It's now 17 games.
The thing is, if he's literally going to be the second half guy, which I don't think he will be a huge part. If they got the league, he will be a huge part of that.
Yes.
But they tried to throw the ball a lot last year, and he still was able to get that done. So I think with it better, with guys healthier, it ain't too hard for him to hit that same number again, even though you know that you're going to be in more formations with 11 personnel, so now you got one less linebacker in the box. It's not crazy or asinine to think that he could get those numbers again. If the box is lighter because of another receiver, if Elijah Moore is out there, there's no way. And he's lined up in the backfield, like there's no way that you're going to put a linebacker on him. And so now you got 2 linebackers to beat.
So my thing is, under what scenario do you think Nick Chubb would actually say, no, give me every penny and hit the market? Nothing to me seems like.
He ain't going to say anything. He going to go in there, they're going to say, Nick, we need you to take a pay cut. He ain't going to say that. He just go.
And do you think, given what you know about him, would he say yes or no?
I don't know much about him.
I don't either.
Nobody knows nothing about him.
Nobody knows. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I would know what he would do because I have no idea what he would do.
Nick Chubb's a team player. I think depending on what is the cut, what's the pay cut? If he's slotted to make $16 million, how much of that 16 are you cutting?
I mean, would y'all be comfortable with what 12?
12.
So 4.
Yeah.
They can do 12. I think he can take
12 is still nice.
Depending on what the 4 and what are we getting with the 4.
Well, here's the other part of the conversation is if Jerome Ford emerges this year, and I thought Mike put it really poignantly a couple last week, a week before, what would Jerome Ford get on this offense in a world that Nick Chubb doesn't exist? And I think you said 1,100 yards.
Yeah.
So is 400 to 500 yards worth $10 million? Or whatever the difference is between what Jerome Ford's making and what Nick Chubb would make.
So you saying that you talking about just completely moving off of the guy?
I think there's absolutely. I think there's a chance that happens.
Yeah, and now you part of the problem. That's why the running backs don't like you. You see that? You doing exactly what the running backs is talking about.
It's playing the market. It's taking advantage of the market situation. And when you're paying your quarterback what you're paying him, I mean, I've said for a year, you can't continue to pay 2 guards $30 million. Like, you're paying $30 million to guards. Eventually, that's a luxury that goes away when you're paying your quarterback what you're paying him. Eventually, they're going to have to make hard decisions. Now, if you're choosing between Nick Chubb and Wyatt Teller, you're picking Nick Chubb. Wyatt Teller's going to go, and you're going to go find another right guard.
Right.
If it's your boy at left tackle, I'm telling you,
that's a lot. And they gotta pay. What's his name?
Wills.
Jedrick Wills.
If they gotta pay Wills,
if you have to choose between Chubb and Wills, Chubb is by far the superior player. But where are you gonna find another left tackle
in the draft?
Where?
You know what? It's this dude.
In the second round? And you're going to plug him in on day one?
It's this dude from Ohio State that came out this past year.
Plug him in.
He about 6'7".
And you know what?
350.
And you know, if he grows up, and I'm serious, if he grows up and matures,
he need to become a pro.
And if he can show that he can handle being an NFL pro, maybe. But we're not at that point right now.
He got a long year to go.
I just think.
So
it's a lot easier to find a running back than it is to find a left
That's
tackle.
true. That is very, especially if Jerome Ford shows some flashes and Jerome Ford catches out the backfield.
Here's what I want to know, Anthony. Can we get a quick poll that would say if the Browns moved off of Nick Chubb for Jedrick Wills?
Oh no! Don't say it like that.
No,
don't say it like that. Because it's gonna be so slanted.
If the Browns were to move on from Nick Chubb after next year for any reason, right? Would they be pissed? I think when Bernie left, people had they lost their mind. But I literally think that the PR storm from that would be crazy.
If the Browns go 12-5, win a playoff game, lose to the Chiefs in the second round.
Oh, I gotta be the Chiefs.
I'm just throwing out a
Chiefs, Bengals, whatever.
And then they move on from Nick Chubb. You think people are going to be that outraged?
Yes.
Yes.
If they go 12-5 and win a playoff game?
Yes.
Depends on how well he played in the season.
And we have no idea of knowing.
Good.
But
Well,
I'm
give
just
me some numbers. Give me some questionable numbers where it's on the fence.
1,500 yards.
How many-
1,500 yards.
How many touchdowns? 10?
10 touchdowns.
They're gonna be mad. They'll be mad. They're gonna be. They listen.
That's big.
That's crazy.
That
like
1,410
maybe
touchdowns.
it's because we ain't seen 14 or 1,500 like that consistently. So we like, well, gee, we ain't seen it before him.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine just jumping into another running back and he gonna get that.
See, I don't want this to become a thing where it's like, because it could be just a fad, you know, like when trading your number one wide receiver, like that was the thing to do for the past couple of years. We'll just get another one in the draft. We'll get a rookie one in the draft. And you see Tennessee was like the victims of that last year when they got rid of A.J. Brown, and it kind of ran out. I don't think did any number one receiver get traded this offseason? I don't think they did.
No.
So I think that kind of ran out. I don't want this running back thing because Nick Chubb is, the way he's projected, he's a Hall of Famer.
He is.
So it's like
He is.
In his prime.
Exactly. So it's like, are we really about to get rid of a Hall of Fame running back because right now the scenario is that running backs are not valuable? Where I don't believe that that's true because last year we seen games where Saquon Barkley single-handedly won games. We seen games where Nick Chubb was single-handedly trying to win
And what did
games.
the Giants do with Barkley? Signed the franchise tag.
No, he got a little extra.
He did eventually.
He got a little extra.
He got $2 million up front,
Listen.
and he got $1 million on the back
If Tennessee was to trade Derrick Henry, like Tennessee's through.
So let's.
If the Browns trade the only concrete piece of offense that you know, if Deshaun Watson is either good or bad, one thing we know, as the sun comes up tomorrow, Nick Chubb is going to be great.
Yep.
So you want to get rid of that one piece, like that you guaranteed know what's going to happen?
You don't want to. No, you don't want to.
I don't know about
but you're
that.
not bringing him back at $16 million either.
Can I give you?
What's the highest paid? CMC is the highest. What do he get, 20 a year?
18, 19.
Is it,
like
Anthony,
that.
is there any way you can look that up real quick and tell me what CMC's annual salary
Christian
is?
McCaffrey?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
While he's looking it up, let's play this little mind game here a little bit. Let's just go ahead and just do fairy tales, right? So say for instance, they Nick Chubb gets his 14, 15, whatever we talking about this year. 2024 he comes around, he's a free agent, they don't re-sign him. 16, right? Okay,
16.
so he about to.
Okay, so he at the top.
At the top of the food chain. So let's say he gets his 14, 15, 2024 come around, and all of a sudden, the Browns let him go. Now, if all running backs are the same, let's play this little thought experiment. If they're the same and it don't really matter, then this shouldn't hurt your feelings. If you let him go to the Baltimore Ravens.
Why there of all places?
All running backs the same. He go wherever, it don't matter.
He go to Baltimore.
If he go to Baltimore, we gonna be sick.
He think Baltimore gave us Jamal Lewis?
Hold on. And they gonna be out here with Lamar Jackson in the read option with Nick Chubb.
That's crazy.
That is devastating.
That's
okay,
crazy.
if everything's equal,
That's crazy.
let him go to Kansas City.
This is what. So the thing is this: if they were to move off of Nick Chubb,
And Kansas City gets him, you're never winning.
No.
You're done.
If they move off of Nick Chubb, you need to chill out.
Buffalo Bills, you're done.
Know for a fact, and they drafted a running back either the first or second round. So with the way running backs are looked at, unless you like Bijan Robinson or the Gibbs kid that went to Detroit, you're still gonna get a good running back in the second round, late first round, second round. You might get the top guy. Now I'm not saying is it Nick Chubb?
No.
Or is it the offensive line? Is it the play call?
Oh, now you didn't ask.
I'm asking. It's a lot that, but see, it's a lot that goes into success.
I can't believe
it's
you
a
went
lot
down
that
that
goes
rabbit
into
hole.
success.
Jason
What?
over here smirking. Stop it, Jason. I know you
Jason,
enjoyed it.
what? Am I wrong, Jason?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Is it Nick Chubb? Now, don't get me wrong. Nick Chubb is great, and I'm not saying it ain't Nick Chubb. I'm just throwing an opinion out there before y'all go left in the chat. I ain't in the chat, but I can just see it right now. I can just see what y'all talking about in the chat. Before we go left, I'm saying, is it Nick Chubb? Is it the offensive line? Because in the same breath, Dearness Johnson came in the game and looked like one of the best running backs in the league.
Nick Chubb was doing that with bums. He was doing that. He's doing.
I'm just throwing an opinion out. I'm just throwing. I'm Switzerland on this whole thing. I don't care either way. I don't care. I'm just playing both sides of the fence. I'm giving you both sides of the scenario.
So like I said, if everything is equal and you can get a running back that was great, it shouldn't matter. Well, look, let him go to Buffalo. So you can have Josh Allen and
They won't
Nick Chubb.
use him in Buffalo right.
Are you serious?
They wouldn't use him right.
Hey, by the way,
if he want to be really successful, he need to go to Philly, or he need to go to where the OC from Philly, the Colts, where he ain't gonna go there because they got Jonathan Taylor.
You see that wishful thinking? See, he wishing he's somewhere in the NFC. The Browns' luck will be he goes to Pittsburgh.
That's exactly what he's
and
like.
then
That's exactly
runs all. Can you imagine having to go to the Browns Stadium and watch Nick Chubb get 225 on
all
you?
running backs are the same.
If all of them are the same, we should. Hey, it don't matter.
Jason is all for it. He doesn't care. You know why? Because he says that Deshaun Watson, if that offense is rolling, and Deshaun Watson, they slinging the ball anyway, so Nick Chubb would have to get 21 points by himself.
I think I think Chubb's probably going to wind up around 1,400 yards this year.
How many touchdowns?
Who cares?
What do you mean? Who
But
cares?
no, but that's not a fair marker because we just said you get it down to the one and give it to Chubb to punch it in.
We like that.
It counts.
All right, if you give it to Ford on the one, is he gonna punch it in?
We don't know that.
I don't think they want to give it. I don't think they want to give it to 4 on the one.
My point exactly.
Right.
That's my point.
Chubb will probably finish around where he always does. He's always in that same range.
12, 13, 11, something like that.
Yeah.
Double digits,
12,
though.
yeah, double digits.
And
yeah.
for that-
1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns.
But what you're saying is if it's for that production, you're willing to do 12.
Because of who he is, if he's willing to take a cut, yeah. I'd bring him
What
back.
if
If you
he-
can make everything else fit, yeah.
What if he only goes, he said 14?
Well, you got to figure it out. The quarterback, and I know they already restructured him once.
Crazy. The number one running back in the league
num-
got to take a cut.
The number one spot is the quarterback money. And it is so high, it complicates everything else that you have to do.
Well, Amari Cooper and DPJ ain't getting paid. So.
Hey, listen, Jimmy Haslam.
Amari's like $14 million, I think, dead cap on the
I thought he was
cap
20.
next year. Is it that high?
Ain't this his last year under contract?
I thought he had one more.
I thought this was it.
I'll tell
Maybe
you,
he's got one more.
I'll tell you what, we do got one more. We got one more voice to add to the panel. I believe Zach Jackson is
He
in the
can
wings.
clear it up.
And I'm going to clear it up. He's going to play. He's going to play the mediator. And let's get it going, Anthony.
Yeah, before we get to Zach Jackson, though, I just want to remind everybody, 1 second, that if you're not a member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, that you should be, because we're going to do some overtimes today. You can text our number and get updates from us all the time. Mike, Jason, they usually text during games. I'm sure we're probably going to do something for the Browns. You get new emojis. I believe there's a new McNuggets emoji in there today. I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but if we get a couple more members, Earl and I are going to get in there, so we're trying to get in there. And you can gift memberships too. If you have somebody in the chat that you really want to gift a membership, you can gift them a membership, be a kind soul. And yeah, we're going to get Zach Jackson ready here. G, I'll take it away in a second.
Yeah, we right back, man. We right back at you. We got to get Zach Jackson on because I'm gonna tell you what. There he is, Zach Jackson of the Athletic. We're not even gonna give you no pleasantries. We need a tiebreaker here. So
wait a minute, you ain't.
Good to be here. Thanks.
Oh, you're nice to meet you. You're like, nice to make your debut. We just rushed through your intro. Just Zach, is there any room for saying that Nick Chubb is the exception to the rule? The rule is you cannot allocate that many resources to a running back. His contract's up in 2024. Are you of the thought that he has a different set of rules because of what he means to the organization, or they're just going to play it by the book and say we can go get another running back for what he's doing?
Yeah, Garrett, I don't know that I can be the tiebreaker here because although I've believed for a long time that Nick Chubb is the exception to many rules, and I believe talent-wise and what he can do on a team that wins games, right, that plays with the lead and all of that stuff could make him that. The reality is this is his age 27 season. He turns 28 at the end. This is year 6. And his cap number next year and the last year of his deal is a lot, and it's easy for them to move on from, right? So, he might be here next year, and he might have a huge year this year. I think he probably will. But, beyond that, and when it comes time to make these decisions, it probably has to be played by the book because the quarterback makes so much money. They have a ton devoted to the offensive line. And, really they've continued to spend in free agency. So they've left themselves temporary wiggle room. And they are not in cap hell per se. But if some of these guys that are making big money don't have good years, or the team as a whole has a bad year and major shakeups come, then it's going to be bloody in the offseason. And probably the easiest thing to do is move on from the running back who would cost you 16 but only 4 to move on from. Even a guy like Nick Chubb, who I think is arguably the best player of the new era to put on the uniform.
All right, now wait a minute.
No,
I was only doing that because Tyvis was flipping me off.
Your man,
Tyvis was giving me the finger while you were
clearly,
talking. Because you
y'all-
said everything
Clearly, y'all had this conversation already.
We've
before.
had this conversation for a year.
This is sad that y'all would do. Y'all just Hall of Fame don't mean nothing no more. That's no respect given to the running back. It's a shame. It's a shame. Anyways, I need to know, what are you seeing out there with the Browns right now? Give me somebody that's standing out, because I seen some clips yesterday that was very alarming defensively, but tell me what you see.
Well, Tyvis, we're not seeing a lot, right? And I look forward to 2-3 weeks from now when we do see more, and a guy like you who knows what they're trying to put in and sees the progress. But honestly, we've been here for 4 days. There was 3 competitive drills. Right, so I'm having a lot of fun watching the defensive linemen run around. Right, I'm having a lot of fun watching the passing because you want to see this offense grow. But what are we seeing? I don't know. So of course this means something. They wouldn't be here if it didn't. And with a new defensive coordinator, new special teams coach, and basically a new quarterback, they're building. But they're just trying to get out of here healthy, and they're just saying, look, we have X amount of practice. We have 6.5 weeks until we play a game. And so far, and really I think there'll be 1, maybe 1.5 real practices the rest of the week here. We're just not seeing a lot. Why
did they do this? Why are they there?
It's daycare, for one. It's team bonding for most. But honestly, it's easy to say team bonding, but a lot of it is the reality of this isn't old school camp, right? You can't keep guys 2.5 hours on the field and then 5.5 hours in the meeting rooms and then do the exact same thing 5 days in a row. He wants to still have an attention span on August 20th, right? So to Kevin Stefanski, this is not hard and fast, but the days that really matter from a competitive standpoint are the 2 days in Philly. What matters here is the team bonding, forcing these guys to be friends, trying to force them to be a team, right? A lot of meetings, a lot of walkthroughs, and just building a foundation. A week from tomorrow, the young guys are going to play, and they're not going to have really done any live tackling, much of anything. It's going to be ugly, but they're going to see who stands out then. And from there, camp in terms of competitions and refinement rather than installation will start off. But right here, they are jogging through the motions. They're having a lot of meetings, and they are stuck deep in southern West Virginia where they have to hang out with one another.
Zach, I had to clear my throat right there because if they don't get out to a good start, they're going to be in trouble. And I'm talking about regular season. Mm-hmm. What is he already came out, I think, and said that they're really not going to play in the Philadelphia game. I think Stefanski said they're going to practice with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They're not going to play that game. Chances are nobody's going to play in the Hall of Fame game. So that leaves another game which they may play a snap or two. Are you worried about not being able to see, the Deshaun Watson, the offense, guys getting real live reps, and going into right off the bat AFC North games that really count, the first 3 games or 4 games of the year?
Well, it leaves 2 games, right? The home game, I believe Deshaun will start. Now, I don't think you're going to see Chubb, Ward, Garrett, Cooper, Zadarius Smith, Bitonio, right? But I think you're going to see for 1 or 2 drives Deshaun Watson on August 11th at home. And I think for 1 or 2 or maybe 3 or 4 drives in Kansas City on August 26th, you're going to see Deshaun Watson. I think that's the plan. Now, the only things that are firm are what you said. It's going to be all backups next week, and it's going to be all backups in Philly because he looks at those 2 days in practice as what matters. Everything else is kind of fluid. So do I want to see it? Yes. Is he aware of this? Yes. But I think when he's talked to those he trusts, and I'm talking about Kevin here, going to his coaches, going to the front office members and saying, we know what's at stake here. We know how ready we have to be. I don't think any of them come to the conclusion that we should put guys out there for a half in the preseason and lose a starter, right? This is a good team. This is an experienced team. The defense is new. It has to be, right? But these guys have played together, and I don't think they're going to push too many buttons. I think they're going to trust the staff continuity, even with the changes. I think they're going to trust the offensive line continuity. And I think they're going to say, rather than push in the preseason and take too many risks, we're going to play this for 17, and we're going to rely on the element of surprise and the element of a very fresh Zadarius Smith, Myles Garrett, and the other guys to beat the Bengals in week 1, which I think they can do. So it's a long, long way away. But I don't think there's anything that's making Kevin Stefanski get off of how he wants to run camp or make him say that there's anything they could really do to make these games, more urgent than they are. I mean, it's a huge, huge month. There's no doubt about it.
So the Hall of Fame game, which is next Thursday, I believe, because I got to be in Cleveland. Out of the rookie class, out of the guys that, the drafted guys and the undrafted guys, we'll see those guys pretty much the entire game or a lot of the game. Which one of those are you looking most forward to seeing? Who you think will be the best out of those groups?
Well, I want to see more Cedric Tillman, Tyvis. I mean, he's big, he's smooth. We haven't seen a ton out of him, and they haven't really seen him let it rip. He scored a touchdown yesterday on Greg Newsome. Newsome claiming push off, and the next time Newsome didn't let him get off the line. It was like the first kind of training camp thing that we've seen, right? So I think he'll play 1 or 2 series, and the big tackle, Siaki Ika, will play 1 or 2 series. But Kellen Mond's going to start the game. He's not a rookie. He might as well be one here with the Browns. Guys like John Kelly, they're not going to get many chances, right? Anthony Schwartz has not been in camp. So if you're Dalen Baldwin, if you're Mike Hartley, these are your chances to make plays in these games. So, the young defensive lineman, Alex Wright, played a lot last year, didn't record any stats. He needs to get out there. They drafted Isaiah McGuire. Those guys are basically competing for one role. So I think all the rookies will be up. But other than that, it's mostly going to be more third-team guys than second-team guys in Canton. It's going to be a lot of running, get the hell out of there, right? And then we'll see where it goes from there, because in the following week they will have a couple of real practices, and I think they'll start to turn the page in camp from the basic installation stuff to the next stuff. But really, the Hall of Fame game is going to be for those bottom-of-the-roster guys to let it rip and try to make an impression.
We're going to do a segment here on Jordan Akins coming up in a couple minutes, so I want to ask you now, because I really don't know the answer to this, who do you think is going to be more involved in this offense and hold a bigger role, Jordan Akins or Harrison Bryant?
Well, right now, Harrison Bryant's ahead in just watching the lines, but I think the easy answer is Jordan Akins. I think they signed him because they see it as a clear upgrade in the number 2 tight end position, right? And he has the history with Watson. He's big. He knows where to be. He's played a lot in the NFL. So to me, it's that. Now, last year, he didn't make the Giants coming out of camp, but he ended up in Houston and had a decent year. And the Browns, he wasn't a top priority for the Browns because he wasn't a defensive lineman, right? But the Browns saw him as a priority and feel fortunate to get him. So I believe there's a way better chance that Jordan Akins is a part of this offense than Harrison Bryant. And probably a better chance that he's a part than like the David Bells and Anthony Schwartzes that we're talking about. So to me, the only development here, guys, from a real football and how it's going to go standpoint is Marquise Goodwin will be a significant loss because he was going to have a role on this team, and that's real speed that can tie up the safeties to let Njoku and let Elijah Moore work underneath. And if Marquise Goodwin's not here, that affects who makes the team, and potentially it affects how you get defended, going down the road.
All right, prayers up to Marquise. We had him on the show last weekend. He was excited.
Yeah, such a good guy, man. It's scary.
He was pumped to go. So you've been watching a little bit of defense, and I know that Greg Newsome is operating the most in the nickel position, but has there been times where has Denzel had any reps in the nickel position? Has Martin Emerson had any? Because when I watched him in minicamp, I seen Denzel taking a lot of all over to the side trying to get the nickel position down. So has he had any opportunities to be in there from what you've seen?
Yeah, one day he did it in the spring, and I think he's mixed in here. It's mostly been Greg Newsome. So the only thing, like I said, it's a lot of fun to watch and listen to the defensive line. And I certainly, when they break the huddle, Tyvis for 7-on-7 or for that stuff, I'm looking. It's mostly been Newsome. It has been the other guys mix in. But the thing that's notable is the top 2 linebackers have been Jordan Kanashik and Phillips. And so we know they're just bringing the other guys along slowly. And in Walker and Taki's case, super slow, that they won't do any contact for 3 weeks, probably not at all, right? Just depending on where they are. But if the Browns are ever in a spot where Kanashik and Phillips are actually playing, then they're in big trouble. So you're just kind of seeing guys mix in now, and we'll see. It's much more fascinating with what happens on the D-line because we know they want to move Za'Darius inside in a lot of their nickel stuff. But Za'Darius looks like he lost about 15 pounds. So I'm counting on Greg Newsome being the slot almost all the time, and I'm more interested as they go forward in how they're going to mix and match those defensive linemen. And then ultimately, are they going to bring another guy in? Because we know Jordan Elliott has not played like a starter really at any time in his previous 3 years, but he still is the starter right now.
Zach, I got one last question for you for myself. They had the DBs decided to show some I guess we'll call it some swag.
Oh, that was
show the clip for Anthony and just tell me, what do you think of this?
This is trash. We need a spokesman for this.
We're talking about the end of practice breakdown here. Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, we're seeing.
Did you feel the energy off of it?
I noticed that, Tyvis. I did, but I got to tell you, I've seen that before through the years. I've covered like 17 coaches of this team, so I've seen it. I did notice it. I didn't give it a second thought, but I have seen them in the break. You guys see the bleachers behind?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's generally where I watch practice from. So the D linemen work right in front of there. I just happened to be on the side, and I saw this one day. I think they've been doing it every day, but it's nothing that really struck me because I've seen it before.
Man, these dudes look like that was the 5 heartbeats choreographed. That's a little like
It looks a little bit like the Remember the Titans.
I done been in some great secondaries, and it was not like that. I was not moved, Zach. I really was upset. I'm not gonna lie to you. I saw it and I was upset.
3 Musketeers. It's terrible. That's so trash. Get your people together, Tyvis. That's not a good look.
Man, listen. And the good news is that they trying to bring that swag. You can see the effort, but that wasn't it. That one wasn't it to me.
You keep saying these Zach, you keep talking about the D-line. I'm actually super excited to see the D-line, especially when, the guys are lined up in a wide alignment. And I'm just feeling like, if you got Myles Garrett outside of a tight end, there's nothing that tight end can do with him. It just seems like you could be much more disruptive. JOK even talked about, in I guess it is interview, saying that it just feels good that Jim Schwartz lets him be you. You're just free. Kind of explain what you're saying for the D-line, watching them up close, and what do you mean by free? And how does Za'Darius Smith look on the opposite of Myles Garrett? Because I know that's just, to me, that's one of the main things I'm looking forward to coming up here in the season.
Yeah, I think the gist of what the Schwartz defense is going to be, there's going to be the wide 9, and we've seen that, right? And the D-line are going to be asked to get up the field. And, we know that what Myles is good at. We know what Za'Darius can do. Every drill that they do is a sprint towards the quarterback crashing down. And I think the idea is that the linebackers are just more free, right? Of course, they have responsibilities, and of course, they're making reads. But I think it's less. I think they're supposed to follow the D-line and just kind of track the play and let them go. And we know JOK is very instinctual. We know we've seen JOK make rare closing speed. So I think that's the idea on that. I know the idea is for Okwankwo to play outside on 3rd down, on 2nd and long, right? So this team has to stop the run and get there. And Newsome and the safeties are going to have to make plays because teams are going to run the ball and teams are going to screen them like crazy to try to take advantage of that aggressiveness. But the whole idea here is for that D-line to cause havoc, to mix and match, fewer double teams for Myles, almost no double teams for Za'Darius. They want to create turnovers. They want Deshaun Watson to score points. And in the 4th quarter, they want to get the ball to Nick Chubb. So for all the fancy stuff, that's the blueprint. We'll see how often they can get there because it hasn't been. Last year that was a struggle.
I like that.
If Marquise Goodwin is out, what does this receiver room look like? Who's in?
Well, David Bell certainly makes the team if Marquise Goodwin. And I think they want David Bell to make the team like he was only a 3rd-round pick. I just have not seen to where he looks good enough to make the team, right? And I'm not trying to be personal with that. I just haven't seen it. There's faster guys. There's quicker guys. And then they remade the receiving room. They gave the money to Moore, to Goodwin, and to Tillman because they didn't think they had enough last year. So I don't know what's going to happen with Anthony Schwartz. He's been working out after practice. He needs to get in there and play, and he'll get the preseason. Jalen Darden's the name to watch for me. He's a slot guy. He's way more explosive than David Bell. So, he's probably like David Bell is probably like the traditional backup slot receiver and put in there and they trust to be in the right place. Where Darden is more of like, if something would happen to Elijah Moore, he can do a lot of that moving around stuff. So, guys, ultimately we know Amari Cooper's a number one receiver, right? And we know that Cooper, Moore, and David Njoku can be moved around. Like, they all have that flexibility. And when you watch in the spring and you watch here, you see Elijah Moore everywhere. Inside, outside, motioning into the backfield, motioning out of the backfield. So they kind of see him as the missing piece from last year. And then Goodwin was going to have a role, playing on the outside and stretching those safeties out. So where does all that fit? Can Tillman really push for playing time? Does Jalen Darden make the team, or do I just not know what I'm talking about? We'll see. But yeah, Goodwin was going to have a role. So that affects both the roster makeup, like I said, and kind of the makeup of the play calling, where he just had such rare speed that even if you weren't throwing it to him, the safeties had to respect it.
What does that mean for Jakeem Grant? Is he a guy that guy last year, he had the injury. He has some speed, but do they see him more as a punt return guy? And if so, does that mean that he may get some reps because of, just guys like Schwartz being out and Goodwin being out?
Yeah, Garrett, I'm glad you asked that because I'm not intentionally dismissing him, but he got hurt last year so early, and he's kind of barely been in through the spring and now because they're bringing him back. And so to me, it would have to take a big jump to make the team. And he might, right? They have him on a schedule. He's been involved every other day. He's been at practice on the days even he's not in. So he could be that guy that makes it as a returner and then, kind of that backup to Elijah Moore. To this point, he's not really in the mix, and my personal thought is that he won't be. But, again, it's a long way, even through August, let alone September, so he might be. If he's in the Philly practices, if he's at the end and he's healthy, he does have that speed. I mean, they gave him some real money last year, and they thought that he could help them in addition to being the punt returner. He just hasn't been in the mix. So talking about what I've seen, I just haven't seen him. So I definitely could be wrong in dismissing him. At the same time, I would be at least a little bit surprised if he's ultimately on this 53-man roster.
What you got?
So you are saying that realistically, because let me just get right to it. I watched some film yesterday. I was watching the Eagles in 2017. When they went to the Super Bowl, I so happened to watch when they played the Vikings in that AFC, what is the NFC Championship game. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed in that was the defensive tackles was like huge. They got Fletcher Cox and all of that. How fixed is this defensive tackle position? Because we only really got Dalvin Tomlinson was the big name. Obviously, we got Mo Hurst, Tristan Hill. How sure are you that this is fixed? Because I see right now the starting tackles is Tomlinson and Jordan Elliott. So will they really be able to plug that run game up in the middle, or will it be a thing we see from last year?
And to piggyback off that, before you answer, do they need to bring anyone in to replace Perrion?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure that Dalvin Tomlinson is going to be the number one defensive tackle on this team, and I'm 0% sure about anything else. So, I understand why they got him. They tried to get Javon Hargrave. Tomlinson's been very durable. He plays, different spots, and he's gotten to the passer a little bit. I mean, the thing is, Tyvis, they listed him at 325. They didn't have anybody over 305 last year, right? At least not that played a lot. So Hurst can play. He's played in this league. He's made plays. He's just been hurt the last 2 years, 2 games over 2 years. So, you get a big year out of Dalvin, and he commands double teams, and he crashes the pocket, then that makes the job easier on everyone. If he doesn't play 17 games or doesn't play at an A rate, then we got big questions. So I do want to see over these next few weeks more of Tristan Hill, as you said. I don't think they ever thought Perrion Winfrey was going to make the team. I could be wrong on that. I can't imagine that they did. So we'll see. I think that's a position they're monitoring. I think from a personnel standpoint, they came down here with the idea of this is an orientation camp. This is the team bonding camp for the top half of the roster. And once we leave here, once we get to Canton and then back to Berea, then we'll start to worry about those battles that are going to happen from 30 to 70 and fixing that D-line. Right now, it's just the basics. We know it's Dalvin. And I think there's an open invitation for anybody to come beat out Jordan Elliott.
When you look at the offensive line, Zach,
you got to be kidding me.
That is.
You gotta be kidding me. Why did you say that, Zach?
Get a message.
Why did you messed up my whole day, man. God, good night.
Yeah. Well, one area I do think, I think the offensive line is deep. I think the offensive line they may have a little bit of an issue, given the fact that, you know, they did give Conklin the money. Jedrick Wills was on the 5th year, but they brought in 2 guys. Guy that was starting last year at the beginning of training camp, Nick Harris, he gets hurt. Poaches comes in. They give him the money. What does the offensive line look like? Can Nick Harris possibly play guard, or is he going to be a casualty of, hey, man, you just got hurt and you got your position taken? Because they did draft a kid from Ohio State, Whippler, as well. So what are your thoughts on the offensive line?
Yeah, I think Nick Harris is well ahead of Whippler right now, and I think there's a chance that Nick Harris is absolutely a lock to make the team. I think we have to see how that goes. They do have a lot of interior depth. Drew Forbes has played. Michael Dunn has been here for 3 years. You know, he started that playoff game when Bitonio couldn't play because of COVID. He's really played 5 positions in practice. They've only needed him in games a couple times, but he's played a little bit since that playoff game, and then he's landed on IR in each of the last couple of years. So tackle depth is hard to find, especially when you have the roster where they've already devoted the resources to the starters, right? So they're trying to see what James Hudson can do. It's kind of a make or break year for him, even though he's got two left on his rookie contract, and they're bringing in DeJuan Jones, who's only practiced twice, you know, to this point. So I do think Harris makes the team. I think either Dunn or Drew Forbes makes the team. You know, I think James Hudson could eventually, if it doesn't work at tackle, move inside to guard, and we'll see. But yeah, they have consistently invested in the O-line, and even though it was a little bit accidental, they hit it big with Ethan Pochik last year. If the 5 starters stay healthy and click, then it will be a strength again. They don't want to have to worry about the tackle depth and go through some of the things they did. But I do think, like, if they needed Nick Harris to play guard or center, that they would feel good about it. And again, he's not a lock for me, but I feel pretty confident he's going to be on the team.
Zach, we appreciate you. We'll look to have you on throughout the season, and make sure you keep Jason out of trouble, man. Don't have him running around in the hills trying to look for trouble. Just tell him and keep the golf cart together. You know what I'm saying?
I will be long asleep by the time Jason gets here, guys. So.
I'll see you tomorrow, buddy. I'll see you in the morning,
right, thanks,
bright and early.
Zach Jackson making his UCSS debut. Anthony, what we got coming up next?
Yeah, so I just want to let you guys know that we're almost to 25,000 subscribers, which is a pretty huge milestone for UCSS. So I'd just like to remind everybody to be subscribers. You can get notifications when we go live for everything. We have Behind the Glass. We've got the live shows. We got post shows coming. So if you are subscribed to the channel, you'll get those notifications, and it's a great benefit to have.
Definitely make sure you guys check that out. Hit that. Hey, and you know what? We got memberships as well, $1.99, $4.99 tier as well. You don't want to be involved in that. We got all the post-game shows coming up as well. And if you just, everybody know, you might not have it right now, but you know it's free? That like button is free. There's no reason we should have under 200 likes every episode. I need y'all to peer pressure people and bullying them into hitting the like button. I think bullying is okay just by hitting the like button. Threats. Where we going now? What we doing?
We have our 32 and
32 and 32. Jordan Akins. Hey, you know what? We just talked about Jordan Akins, and Zach talked about him being a probable upgrade. Mm-hmm. I think Tyvis. A lot of people feel like because they got Deshaun Watson, that they're not going to be running the ball underneath center, and they're not going to use the tight ends like they used to. I disagree. You're going to see shotgun with 2 tight ends, shotgun with 2 or 3 tight ends, and they still run the same concepts out of that. And when you're doing that, you got a guy like Jordan Akins, who I think is an upgrade. What are your thoughts on him possibly being, a really bigger part that people give him credit for?
Well, I think that when you look at David Njoku, I mean, this is the guy who, he does have injury issues. And I think last year before he got injured, he was trending to have a really good season. His injury kind of held him back, especially from, just a season that he was having. He was productive. He was scoring in the red zone. He was making those plays. He was really big on those 7 cuts, as we seen in them clips, that he's still wide open on them 7 cuts, which He been in the league for like 5 years. If you don't know that David Njoku's running the 7 cut, then you're sadly mistaken. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just the guy that's just on the outside looking in. But I think Jordan.
You're not angry about that, are
Not
you?
at all. Not at all. But Jordan is a guy that, he's familiar with Deshaun, and he could be a huge red zone threat as well. If David Njoku does go down, it's not like, oh my goodness, we can't run certain things anymore. He still is able to stretch the field a little bit. Not saying that he's a burner or anything like that. He just has the ability to get open, and the guy can jump. The guy was a former basketball player. So when you get down into the red zone, and you know how Kevin Stefanski is with these tight ends, he loves getting them involved, especially down in those red zones. He will be a logical option for you in the red zone to be able to score and make plays and still do the things that David Njoku could do if he wasn't available.
I think we're done with the 3 tight end sets, thankfully.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but 12, I could definitely see 12
sure.
personnel.
Yes,
12
especially
personnel, one running back, 2 tight ends.
goal line, short yardage.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I really was curious about how Zach felt about Harrison Bryant versus Akins, because I think there's only room for one of them, really.
Trade candidate. Harrison Bryant will be a great trade candidate towards the end of preseason.
camp?
Yeah.
Preseason.
Yeah. Because he's going to go out there. They're praying that he's able to really make some plays.
something on
and then,
film.
boom, somebody's like, we need a tight end. He'll be perfect.
And that makes sense because, like I said, they're not carrying 3. I could see them doing 2, but, Akins is here because Deshaun wants him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that Deshaun, that was a clear go out and get him. I like that
Yeah.
guy. So that if he's going to be on the field, there's a reason that Deshaun's going to look his way. So I do think that there's a role for him, but I don't think it's both him and Harry. It's going to have to be one or the other, and it seems pretty clear at this point. It's going to be Akins. So there is going to be opportunities for him. There's always the threat to injuries with Njoku and everything else. So right now I think it's a small role with the opportunity to grow to something bigger for Jordan Akins.
Yeah, I like the fact that if you got 2 receiving tight ends, I like the fact that you can mold and move your offense a little bit. Like, you don't need 4 or 5 receivers to still run some of those same concepts. Like, especially if you got an athletic tight end like Njoku and Akins, you could isolate linebackers, you can isolate safeties, and you could play ball that way. I like to be versatile in my threats downfield. And I think when you got 2 tight ends like that, you still have a threat to run the football. You still can be physical, but you still can throw the football. So, I look at the offense, and if, say, for instance, Marquise Goodwin is not a part of the offense because he's out for the season or out for a sustained period of time, you can still run some of your concepts and you can still have deep threats, but you just have to threaten the field from different perspectives. Maybe that's in the seam with tight ends or in the seam with Elijah Moore. Those are things that you can do. But I do think Akins is going to play a major part in this offense. I think he's going to be the second tight end. I think that he's going to be a guy on the goal line where we're going to see some exotic packages on the goal line. He'll be a part of them. And it's just another place where you can get athleticism and keep guys honest in the red zone. Now, I will say this. I thought Zach Jackson he hit the nail on the head when he was like, the Marquise Goodwin thing, that kind of hurts. I mean, because we saw him catch a couple of balls in OTA for touchdowns. And that's one of the things the Browns have always been wanting. That's why they went out and got Schwartz. And, he's not playing. He has an opportunity to come back. I think he has a hamstring or something, but that's the one dynamic they are missing from this offense.
Well, the difference between Marquise and Anthony is Marquise actually catches the ball. If he
Kind of important.
A big part of it. But the thing is, he would stretch the field at that Olympic speed. Like I told you, I went against Marquise, so I know from experience, like, it's serious. It's real when he out there. So as a safety or as a defender, you got to be weary of where he's at. Like, where is Marquise at? Especially if he's lined up and he's on the ball or he going deep. That's what that tells me. So, yeah, he's definitely going to be missing. They got to find a way to get somebody going. Hopefully, Anthony Schwartz been on the jugs this whole offseason and, he's able to come in and catch. But I did have a miscellaneous thing that I wanted to talk about since we was talking about tight ends. And it had to do with that clip. Show me that Njoku catch again. This seven cut. So I'm watching. So yesterday, as I was telling you, I was on YouTube just watching Jim Schwartz's defense, and the defensive tackle thing really stuck out to me because he was basically saying that these defensive tackles have to be able to pretty much take on two blockers. They gotta be lined up over one, and they're going wherever the run is going. They have to reach the guard and keep the guard off of the linebackers, which is the same thing that happened last year, where I was like, if these defensive tackles don't get blown off the ball, then these linebackers are free to make plays. So it's really, it's Jim Schwartz is coming in with a new voice, but it's still the same type of concepts that we just got rid of with, what's his name? What's my dude? Joe Woods. So it's literally about the same concepts. It's going to be the same thing. So that's why I was interested about the defensive tackle position, because I'm like, if our defensive tackles don't fix it, what they did last year, then it's still going to be the same results. But that has nothing to do with this 7 cut. So the reason that this 7 cut is important to me is because I challenged Grant Delpit to have a good year. Why was the Eagles successful? They had Malcolm Jenkins, and Grant Delpit is basically going to be that Malcolm Jenkins on our defense, that down box safety that can cover really well, that's not afraid to come up and make plays, that can buzz really well. Well, when I go back, let me see that clip one more time. When I go back and I see this clip, it's like I'm looking at 22. You can't really see him in this. You can't really see him, but he was the one buzzing.
Pulled up.
Yeah. So my thing is, as I was watching the clip, and don't get me wrong, I don't got the whole formation, and I can't see the whole thing. I can only see this little clip. And my thing is, if you're a buzz player and you see 2 going up, like that's who you really gonna end up having anyway. So he got to do a better job of getting to his landmarks, flipping his hip, and he got to be able to put air under that ball. See, that is a dart that Deshaun is throwing right there. So there's no way that anybody, corner or whoever it could be, make a play on this ball because he's throwing him a dart. So Grant Delpit, and the other clip, let me see the other clip too. The other clip, this one ain't fair because I don't know where this dude came from. I don't know if he did an over route or if this was another 7 cut. But if this was another 7 cut, he got to figure it out because Delpit really is going to be a huge part of this defense. And obviously the 7 cut is going to be the weakness because you want to high-low your buzz player. So he's got to find a way to play everything from deep to short, and he's got to be very effective. So Delpit, baby, this is your contract year. You got to figure it out. There's 2 of them right there. Like I said, I don't know the whole thing of it, so I'm not going to judge you off of it. But what I will say is you got to be able to play that buzz better because you're going to get them 7 cuts and them over routes, especially if y'all in cover 3 and y'all a heavy cover 3 team. So you got to find a way to play that technique better, play everything deep to short, let them hit the flats, rally up, make the tackle, and live to see another down. But if you give up them 7 cuts for 12, 15-yard gains, now they're getting down the field crazy, and it's going to look bad.
Man, it's something that irks me. It gets inside of my spine, and my legs get numb. I just hate seeing DBs do this, and the ball go over their head, and they put their heads down and start flailing like little kids trying to tag the bro. That was your man. We see it because you got the little kid arms. He hit him with he was like, oh yeah, I'm in position now, and he fired behind me.
I'm just looking at it, and I'm like,
what you doing?
Like, I know you're not a man, because if you're a man, your man technique was terrible to begin with. So I know you buzzing, and buzzing, buzzers is 8 to 10 yards to and through the numbers. And you got to flip your hips when you get there because they're trying to high-low you. The defenders want to high. They're going to throw something behind you, and they're going to throw the running back in the flats. And if you bite the flats, obviously they're going to hit behind you. So your job is to play everything deep to shorts. And right now, his hips just seem like it's not – he not flipping them hips good enough and getting that depth. You got to get that depth to make them throw the underneath ball. If you keep giving up that 7 cut, they're going to eat that all day long, especially if you're going up against some of these top tight ends in the league.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this, and this is the thing, and I want to preface this. When you look at Jim Schwartz defenses, the one thing that you're gonna do is you will get angry. The whole goal is to get these guys to get pressure on the quarterback with 4, but you're gonna see a lot of times people catch the ball and it'll be like 5 yards. They're gonna give you cushion. They want you to matriculate. They're gonna let you make them matriculate up the field, and people be. Because I'm going to be like, all right, man, if you don't get home right here, it could be. I was looking at the Eagles. Some of the Eagles people was talking about it. It was like, go back and watch some of them games. It looks beautiful when people was getting home.
Yeah.
But if ain't nobody getting home,
Oh yeah, your secondary got to be really good.
5, 7, 9, 4, 3,
And
6.
it's gonna be a huge test. The secondary gonna have to come to play. And don't get me wrong, the linebackers will too, because if they in cover 3, they're responsible for those hooks and some of them over routes as well. So you praying to God that forward pressure get home. If it don't, the secondary got to make their money. It's been too many years that we said that these guys is talented. They got these first-round picks. They got guys that's productive. But they got to put the whole thing together if they want this defense to ride. It can't just be solely on the pass rush. Yes, that's a huge part of it. Yes, we're going to be rushing the passers with just 4, and these guys are really great with pass rushing moves. But at the end of the day, when the ball goes up in the air, it's up to the secondary to make the play.
Tyvis, do you see, to me, it just seems sometimes when I watch our secondary that do they take enough chances? Like as a DB, sometimes you guess it.
Well, I mean,
sometimes,
but you don't want to be Trayvon Diggs where you're just guessing all the time.
But
it comes from proper preparation. If you watching film and you see it and you believe it, and you can come back to your coach and say, listen, 3-by-1, when they come out and the running back's away, this is typically the route set that they run. This is the concept that they run. This is what I thought they was getting. When I watch film and they went up against our type of defense, I don't know who runs what we run, say the Saints ran this. They ran this against the Saints, and this was the play that they ran on this 3rd and long. I thought this is what we was getting. And that coach would be like, oh, I get that. That makes sense. But if you coming out there saying, I just wanted to do it because I thought, like that's totally different.
How many times is that the answer?
Never. It better not be. Okay. It better not be the answer.
Can you, what if you trying to jump something? They be like, no, I seen that. Like, it just seems like our guys are super uber. They're like, I'm not trying to get beat. I'm a rally and tackle.
Well, see, the only person that challenges it's 2 people that challenge. Martin Emerson challenges and Denzel challenges. G. New has been the one that's been kind of said that's why he got no picks, because he ain't taking no chances. Mm-hmm. At some point, you gotta, if you see it and you believe it, you gotta just go. And if you get it wrong, now that you got Juan Thornhill back there, this is the time to take a chance. If you trust that Juan is a good tackler and gonna get something down, it's okay to roll the dice a couple of times. The bigger the risk, the bigger the check, though.
Man, all them. Listen, I'm playing the sticks.
If I'm on the sticks, I'm not moving. I'm gonna tell you. If it's 3rd and 10 or 3rd, I'm sitting there 12 yards at the line, at the stick, and he gonna curl up right in front of me. It's gonna happen.
There was also a play on the goal line where who ran this move? It might have been DPJ. Now he got a split, right? So his split is so narrow. And he's playing close he's almost by the tight end.
Yeah, they do that to make sure you don't press.
And so my thing is, if you're the corner, you know he got to come back to. Why you not sitting on something over the sideline?
Listen, depending on what the call is, because Jim Schwartz on first through second down, he is a heavy cover 1, cover 3, which is same thing we've been running anyways. But 3rd down, depending on the down and distance, he runs a lot of cover 2. I know this because my boy Greg Maben played for Tennessee last year. Obviously he was there, so I got all the. Shout out to you, babe. Good luck to you in camp in Carolina because it's coming up soon. But anyways, so if it's a cover 3 call, let's say that the receivers line up close to the tight end, it's cover 3. I'm not really worried about any outward breaking route because that's what your buzz player is for. If he's lined up that close, your buzzer should be right there running through him, reroute, and he should be outside. So if they give you that bang out, you should be right there. If he runs a dig, your linebacker should be right there. So really, you just over the top of any deep thing. So I don't know why people be so nervous over these reduced splits.
If y'all want to keep giving Tyvis information, keep doing that so we can steal your playbook and then choreograph it and put it on UCSS, man. Anthony, what's next?
I have to get my whiteboard out. The whiteboard coming soon. We'll draw some stuff up.
You should be a coach.
Nah, I ain't doing that.
Hey, they don't pay you enough and you be moving too much.
Nah, I don't mind. The coaching thing is that is true. That because if your head coach get fired, you all get fired. Too. So that's one.
Yep.
And 2, a lot of these kids they think they know everything. They don't really want to listen, and they don't love the game. Like if you're not gonna put in the proper time to watch tape. Like, if I'm going to watch all this tape as a coach and I can tell you everything that's coming, but you don't take the time out to do it yourself.
And y'all got the same mind?
Like, it's pointless. Like, I can tell you everything in the world, but I'm not playing. Like, I'm not out there anymore. It's up to you to be the one. You the one that want to get paid. And my job is to help you get in position to get paid. I can't make the play for you. I can tell you what's coming, but I can't make you have that play. I can't teach you confidence either. Like, if you believe in it, if you see it, go. Do it. It's there. Trust me. It is exactly what you think it is. Just do it. And then, boom, reward yourself. But a lot of people get timid out there. They don't want to get beat. So I'm not going for all that. I'm not telling you to jump the route. I'm telling you, if you know it, if you've seen it on film, it's probably what you think it is.
That's what he's saying. Tyvis says jump routes, forget what you
I ain't telling you to jump no route. Because you'll get double. I tell you what I will say is, with this, if the pass rush is as really good as they say it is, you might be more lenient to jumping routes because they ain't got time to run double moves.
No, ain't no double moves coming. I was Miles Garrett up there. Like, I'm jumping.
That's what I'm saying. If Miles is having that one of them type of years and this D-line is having them type of years, yeah, jump a route.
Man, boy. What if, like, you know, this is a fact. Steve Becker joint got a what if. I'm interested to see what this is. Anthony, what we got going on?
Yeah, before we get into what if, guys, I want to do a little bit of a shameless plug for Earl and I. We've got Behind the Glass coming to you tonight at 7:15. Okay. I think this is like our 4th or 5th episode. I still haven't made a graphic. We're waiting on headshots. Just imagine a graphic is up right now. I don't know what we're talking about tonight, Earl. Do you have any idea?
So I came up with something when I was sitting in the car. I think we're gonna talk about the whole contract situation. Justin Herbert just got, I think, up to $215 million in guaranteed money. And the further we get away from Deshaun Watson's contract, the more I'm starting to understand that his contract is definitely unique and one of a kind. So.
Yeah, so you can check that out tonight at 7:15 for Behind the Glass right here on UCSS. And now we're gonna get into what if. So, guys, our first what if question today, brought to you by Steve Becker. Thanks for the ideas. Is what if Art Moddell never moved the Browns?
We have some championships. We would have had Ray Lewis. We'd have had Ed Reed. Man, we'd have had the best defense known to man.
No, I don't. I've thought about this.
Oh, here you go. Man, we would have had a ring. Don't do that. Don't say we wouldn't have.
Listen, I think the catalyst when Art Moddell moved, I think it changed his mindset on a lot of different things. I think it did, bro. Like, I think it made him be like, okay, like.
Jason's going to agree with you.
Like, it's just, because look, you think about it. Would he still have hired Ozzie Newsome, right? That's the catalyst.
Why would he not?
That's the thing for me.
Why wouldn't he?
Because you gotta
he
think
was
about
a great player for you. What are you talking about?
If they don't move, I think he would have kept Bill Belichick.
No, I think that had run it.
I don't know. Yeah, I was young.
This is young. This is a really complicated conversation to have because there's stadium deals involved, and it goes far beyond just what if they never moved. Well, the reason they moved is because he was broke, and he was broke in part because Dick Jacobs left and they built their own stadium, and he lost a little bit of revenue with that. He was just out of money. And, I mean, he had to take out a loan to pay Andre Rison's contract. He had to go to the bank and get a loan to pay. That's insane for an NFL owner. He's the one guy in the NFL that, like, couldn't make money. So if the Browns never leave, if the Browns don't move, well, then the Guardians probably move. The Indians are probably in Florida. If that whole ballot issue is, like, this is just such a tangled
web. It's a great story.
It's a tangled conversation to have. There was an opportunity at one time for them to build another multi-use stadium. That was part of the discussion, and Art wasn't interested. And so, I mean, if the Browns never left, if something got done where they were able to build a second stadium for them, which they barely got Gateway Pass by the skin of their teeth, and the only reason they got Gateway Pass was because they brought the Cavs from Richfield, and they gave them an unbelievable deal to get them out of Richfield, because the mayor didn't want to do it for just a baseball stadium. The mayor, Michael White, didn't care about sports. He didn't care about the stadium. But when you talk about bringing the arena downtown and concerts and the revenue that would generate from having a downtown arena, well, that's what brought the mayor on board with the plan. But in order to do that, you had to get the Cavs involved. So it's such a mess of a conversation of like, it's not as simple as what if the Browns never moved.
And I don't.
So what if Art Moddell had money?
Well, I mean, if Art wasn't a horrible businessman,
Yeah,
then yeah, I mean, Bill probably still gets fired because that decision was made. I don't know. That's a good point though, because they went to Baltimore, and they like wanted to start fresh. And They brought Ted Marchibroda in as the coach.
If you're here and you're invested, you have more time to say, okay, let's see this through a little more. I mean, because think about it. You had already got rid of Kozar. You've already given the keys to Bill. And Bill, when you look at the staff he had, put together, I mean, he had one of the best staff of young coaches to ever be assembled. Yeah. And if you look at it and you say, give it a couple more years.
And part of the reason it unraveled was because the news broke that the team was leaving. Yep. And the whole thing just fell apart on him.
So the question is, I guess what we extrapolate is, do you think they would have been more successful?
Say again?
If you give them time, they never leave. Do you think they get? Because the question is, do they get over the hump at some point?
Well, if Ozzy's here, yeah, they probably. And there's no reason. If Ozzy went with Art to Baltimore, he surely would have had the job here. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, I think if Ozzy was really the architect to a lot of what they did.
And Ozzy, so I look at it. Ozzy was pretty much he was the guy. Like, if Bill is still here, who was the GM when Bill was here? Lombardi?
Lombardi was at one point. I don't remember the exact, like the last year. I don't remember if it was Mike Lombardi or not.
Because Bill eventually got to the point where he had developed to a point where he was the general manager, the de facto general manager, the de facto head coach, the de facto defensive coordinator. I don't know if he would have had those same aspirations in Cleveland. Do you think eventually he would have said this was always on his career path that he wanted to do, to control
Bill?
Player? Yeah.
I think any coach wants that. Once they garner the respect and the credibility to do it, every coach wants the say so in who you're acquiring and where you're putting them.
Yeah, it's a difficult question, Tyvis.
That's some input. I feel like coaches got input.
Sure.
But they ain't making the decision.
Right.
I can see, I honestly, people say all the time, I can see why Art Modell left. I can. Now, look.
Why you got to say it like that?
Because a lot of people think it's sacrilege to say, like, he should have never moved the Browns, should have never moved the team, blah, blah, blah. But you got to look at it.
He was broke. He had no choice.
Like, and plus you got to look at it like this. If I come in, right, and they say, G. Bush, you know what? We doing negotiations with shoe contracts. And they said, listen, we're going to take care of Tyvis, and we're going to take care of Jason. So Jason get the Balenciaga deal, and then Tyvis, he comes in and he gets a Tom Ford deal. I'm like, oh, they doing a designer up here. They winning. Then they come up and say, yo, and they say, just hold on. We ain't got it in the budget yet, but we got some for you in the back. Okay, cool. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
We'll wait to the top of the year, and they come out and be like, yeah, we got this Puma deal for you. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. I'm hot. Now I'm hot. I'm hot. I don't even want to show up no more.
Why?
Because, bro, you gonna play me like that.
Wait a minute. It's better than nothing?
No, bro, and that's what the thing is.
It's better than nothing.
When somebody said, nothing has ever turned out good when somebody said it's better than having nothing.
It is.
Because then that's why Art Modell was in his bag. They gave, and when these stadiums came out, think about this. When Jacobs Field came out, it was the talk of sports, Jason. They talked about how beautiful it was. It was a crown jewel gateway. And then Art Modell is sitting there and he said, now look, at the time, if you think about it, if you flip it, the Guardians had never gave you nothing in terms of play. Like, they've never given you anything as far as making the playoffs. Art looking at it like this. I've been the man since 85.
That's
86,
true.
87, 88, 89. We was win like we one win away. You know, like, so now, and my team playing in this dump. And it was trash too. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
You went?
No, I went there.
Did you go?
No.
Are you old enough to have been to the old Browns?
Oh, I was there all the time.
It was bad.
It was bad.
Dang.
I was just pulling up the story that Zach Meisel and I wrote on this a couple years ago. There was a toilet that leaked into Art Modell's office in the stadium.
It's crazy.
Dang. So the Indians got a new stadium. The Cavs got a new stadium.
And they weren't even supposed to be in it.
But the Browns get nothing.
The Browns, and then he's left holding the bag. It gets to be about 95.
What sport was more popular? Was this back when baseball was America's
No.
sport?
This is still NFL. The Browns at that time, I would say, were you correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Browns at the time were one of the most popular teams in the league.
Oh, for sure.
And they couldn't get no money?
Popular. They were. I had to go back and watch the game.
I don't want to say to Art's credit, but from the Browns' perspective on this, they warned the city and the county for over a year. Something has to be done with the stadium, and they didn't take it seriously. And they said the Browns will never move. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
like, and so they didn't react until it was almost too late. From the city side of things.
I remember Michael White trying to stir up like. It was weird because he was like putting the collection plate out, like he was doing weird stuff. Like he was like trying to. He was trying to put the collection plate out.
Go take the plate around one more time.
Man, no, we're not. Listen, you supposed to have your stuff in order, bro. Like they got the collection plate. Obviously, the Browns had already had to move it in tow and ready to go, and then it was just like, it kind of hit everybody. And to what Jason was saying earlier, in '95. They had started out.
Man, I was 1 year old.
He was one. It was crazy. And I wasn't that old. I was,
1
14?
year, baby.
14?
95, 1 year. Yeah.
They started off that year well. I think they started off like 4-1 or something. Like they started off really good. News broke, went all to hell.
Yeah.
And like people were saying, I gotta move. I'm trying to tell my wife I gotta move my kids. People trying to take their kids out of school. Like the fans is letting them. Like it was.
Wait
just
a minute.
mess.
They tried to take their kids out of school because the Browns moved?
What the guys were saying, we gotta move. Like I gotta.
Oh,
get my kids.
you talking about the players? So I thought you talking about like random fans. I was
like
what?
they gotta take their kids out of school, and it's just weird.
Zach and I, when we wrote the story a couple years ago, Michael White would not return my calls. I reached out to him a couple times, the old Cleveland mayor. So Zach and I drove down to his winery in like Newcomerstown type area, about an hour and a half from here. And he was very polite and friendly until I introduced myself and told him who I was. And he basically said, finish your drink and get out.
That's
and
crazy.
Michael White would not talk to me about any of this. He had no interest in revisiting any of this. And it was just, it's unfortunate the way the whole thing went down. Art, like I said, Art was losing a ton of money to begin with. And then when he lost the Indians' revenue and the suite holders, they all went to Jacobs Field. They left him. He never dreamed that he would lose ticket revenue, but a lot of people that had suites, businesses that had suites at Old Stadium, left the Browns and went to Jacobs Field.
And to educate them a little bit so that it makes sense, what Jason's saying is Art Moddell, he was leasing those games out to use the facility to the Indians. Correct.
The Indians were a tenant. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Art had the Stadium Corp deal. The Indians were a tenant basically to Modell and had to pay him rent. And then he lost that, and he lost the people who chose basically to go with the Indians rather than stay with the Browns. So he ended up losing a lot of money. But he still kept trying to renovate that old stadium. And even business leaders were like, why are you trying to renovate this thing? Let's try and build a new stadium. But they barely got Gateway passed. I mean, barely got it passed. And the only reason they got it passed was because the Guns agreed to bring the Cavs back, but they made an unbelievable deal for themselves.
Wait, who decided to bring the Cavs?
The Guns.
The Guns, Gordon Gund.
Oh,
the
okay.
owner of the Cavs.
What was the name of his place?
Gund Arena, the STD. And here we go. We just lost Tyvis for 6 minutes.
Yeah, there it goes.
But Gordon Gund negotiated an incredible deal because they
so
owned everything in Richfield. They owned the land, the building, all the parking, everything. So the city of Cleveland had to make an unbelievable deal to get them to come back downtown. And that's the only reason Gateway passed.
So basically,
Gordon Gund saved the Indians.
So the Indians didn't leave. Gunn came back, and now the only one left without a chair in this musical chairs is the Browns, and they got the good deals. And by the way, the people was burned out, and we're not giving you no more tax money.
Well, I'm about to say, present day, they trying to get a new stadium, and they ain't going for it.
Well, and
the mayor ain't moving. He said he ain't giving none of his public funding to y'all new stadium.
oh, you're talking present day.
Yeah, present day. Present day, yeah.
As you skip it forward and you pay
It's been
forward,
40 years from now, the same thing is
and the
going
same,
on.
you got a shoddy stadium. Now here's the problem: they got an owner that's richer than
Right.
the apostles.
I just stopped at Pilots. I just paid Deshaun Watson's contract.
See, there you go.
Got some gas at Pilot. I was like, that's for Deshaun. This for D.Y.
Yeah. So we didn't even, Anthony. We didn't even get to the what if.
We had another question. I think we can just move on to Guardians. That was great, guys. And we got to get the Guardians some
What
love.
was the other question? Oh, the drive.
Yeah, we might do that.
We'll save that. Yeah. I'm in this seat for the next 2 days. We got stuff. Don't worry about it.
Anthony got a bag. Oh, that ain't nothing. I got some in my back pocket. Salami
Not even
sandwiches.
worried about it. But the MLB Trade Deadline is Tuesday, so Jason is here to educate us on the Guardians' top picks for all the casual baseball fans sitting on the panel and the producer who doesn't watch baseball very often. So,
ain't nothing to talk about. Like, I think so. I'm convinced any move that the Guardians would possibly make absolutely makes no sense. You can't trade Bieber. That move's off the table. Are you close enough that you can go out and get a significant bat or a significant arm to put you over the top? No. I believe there's nobody out there like that on the market. Do you want to give up some of your guys that are your top pitching prospects, Allen, Bobby, Williams? No, you're not going to give those guys up. And you don't have enough places right now for you to even really play anybody that you would go out and get. If you're not going to move Rosario to get him off a shortstop, you have Gonzalez. You're not bringing him up. So I don't know what move really makes sense, Jason. You may get a couple minor leaguers for Rosario. You might get.
You mean you don't know? You know what move makes sense.
Which ones?
The one that involves
Ohtani.
the one that involves Ohtani. Ohtani only wants to play with one person in the MLB, and the Guardians just so happen to have that guy.
That actually sounds like a Hindu deity.
Imani Ohtani.
I'm gonna start bringing Advil when I got shows on YouTube with Imani Ohtani over here.
Oh my
Just
God!
saying, when Imani Bates become the future of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he makes us forget about Donovan Mitchell,
I was going to do that yesterday, but it was too fresh. I couldn't even do it. I said no.
You think Earl think Donovan Mitchell had a season, the best cast season? He ain't seen Imani Bates play yet.
We made it to 12:58 yesterday, and G mentioned Imani Bates, and I said, oh, we almost made it through a whole show without G mentioning Imani Bates. Almost.
Not gonna happen.
12:58.
Got him.
But no, I think if the Guardians are trying to get something, it's only two spots. That to me, I think that they still need an outfielder that can hit, because I know how we feel about Miles Straw, and he's been
Miles Straw.
So you can get somebody that can hit and produce some home runs later in that lineup, or our bullpen hasn't been that great this season either. So I wouldn't be opposed to them getting somebody that you can throw in there and getting that rotation as well, because this bullpen went from being the strength of the team to questionable.
I'm chalking it up. I don't think. I'm going to just chalk it up. Y'all didn't play well this year. I'll catch you.
You talking about the bullpen, or you talking about the Guardians?
The whole squad. Whole team. There's nothing to get.
When they lost to the Royals 2 days ago, I really took my hat off and said I might not wear it no more. This is a shame, man. This is bad.
Well, the standings say they're still in it. Our eyes and reality tell us that they're not.
Yeah.
With all the pitching injuries that they've had, the bullpen's a disaster. The lineup has been a little bit better in spots, but I just don't see, like, you could go a couple different directions with this. You can go like a rental type of route. And
you talking about get Ohtani?
I'm not talking about.
I swear I thought
Ohtani.
I thought I had you on board.
No,
go ahead.
But someone like a Mark Canha from the Nets or Cody Bellinger from the Cubs is the type of guy, a little bit higher priced, fills an immediate need. There's no question. But it's probably a one-year type thing. I think Bellinger has a mutual option for next year. Canha has an option for next year at about $12 million. It's just not – he's a bat, but I don't know that this is a franchise in position to be paying him that type of money next year. Bellinger's been great the last couple of weeks. He's really gotten hot. You could plug him into any spot in the outfield. He's a former MVP.
Cody Bellinger.
But he's probably going to he's going to command quite a bit because he's probably one of the best bats on the market. I would rather see the Guardians go a different route and go after a Dylan Carlson from the Cardinals, a Joe Adell type from the Angels. These are guys who...
That's the wrong Angel, though.
It is not the wrong Angel. It's the type of... So Dylan is the type of guy who still has 3 years of control after 24, switch-hitting outfielder. He's forced out of a spot, former top prospect in all of baseball, and it just hasn't clicked for him yet. But the Cardinals are an organization that famously has given up on outfielders and hasn't been able to figure it out. They had Randy Rosarina and Adolis Garcia in their system at one time. So, and they've got this glut of outfield guys. I know we had, who did you have on the list? We were talking before the show. I think you had Lars on the list of Cardinals players. But I think it's a little bit more realistic for them to move on from a guy like Dylan Carlson now that they're healthy in the outfield. And he just doesn't have a chance for everyday at-bats. And Joe Adell and with the Angels is very much in the same boat, where it's a guy who is a former top prospect in all of baseball. He's got a ton of power, a little bit of Oscar Gonzalez to him. He's undisciplined. He's got 200 strikeouts, I think.
Why? What do you mean you take it? You got that in the minors.
I would have brought him up. I'll take it because if you got a bunch of – I need somebody being aggressive.
Well, bring the dude. You ain't got to trade for. He right down there in Columbus.
You can't have 5 guys like that, but you can have one. Come on.
Well, Adell's hit 23 home runs this year in AAA. Now the AAA league that he plays in, it's inflated.
What does Oscar have?
I don't know what his numbers are. I mean, he's been great the last couple of weeks.
But him and somebody up Tito don't get along or something like that?
No, I don't think it's that he and Tito. I think that the organization just doesn't have a lot of trust in his swing. I do think that he'll. I don't know. Part of me thinks we're never going to see Oscar Gonzalez in Cleveland.
That's what a lot of people feel.
And part of me feels like, well, you can't keep running out what you're running out there now, so you have to try something different.
She's just not that into you. You keep asking this girl over and over, you want to go on a date, and she says yes, and then she finds something that she has to do. Oh, my mom told me I was supposed to mow the lawn. Oh, well, you know what? I was supposed to help my friend get a wedding dress. You be like, hold on.
Well, why must I be like that? Why must I chase the cat?
I'm just asking myself. The reality of the situation is Oscar Gonzalez is waiting down there, and Tito keep telling him, I was going to bring you up, but Will Brinson asked me out first. So,
Wait, Will Brendan is all right now. Don't do that.
No, Will is my guy. But at the end of the day, I mean, is he really at some point? I just want regular players.
Listen,
we got medium players.
Are they gonna make the playoffs this year? If they ain't gonna make the playoffs, then who cares?
I just think it's worth trying to pursue guys with multiple years of control. I don't know that what a rental is going to.
Who you referring to? I know you ain't referring to who I think you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's not even logical on any level. That is
Why
not logical.
Why you keep falling for that? You said who? Like who?
Amani Bates will start on opening night at small forward before the Guardians trade for Shohei Ohtani.
Okay. Can I ask you guys a question? Do you want the Guardians to make the playoffs this year with the way they're playing?
It's nice.
Of course.
If they don't make it'll be a shame. It's a shame that if they can't make the playoffs.
You always want your team to make the playoffs. If fall baseball's terrific.
Yeah.
Jacobs Field, Progressive Field, whatever you want to call it, when it's packed, is electric for postseason. There's nothing like it. It's tremendous.
I like it.
I just don't know how realistic it is.
You know,
if it's worth pursuing, and at the cost of what? Like I want to see move on from Ahmad Rosario in the next couple days, just to open up shortstop, just to start looking at some of these other guys.
You want to give up that clutch hitting that he has?
I'd have no problem giving up Ahmad Rosario for whatever. He's not going to command a lot in value, but you're freeing up the spot because you have to have some sort of idea going into next year who your shortstop is.
Mm-hmm. He's the leader of this team.
Ahmad Rosario? The clubhouse loves him. I've said it 100 times.
That's what I'm saying. They love him there.
But between Rocchio, Arias, I mean, at one time it was supposed to be Arias. Arias was supposed to be that guy. But he can't hit. I don't get the feeling that they are totally sold on Rocchio yet. Tyler Freeman is still there. Could you play Freeman at second, slide Jimenez to short? But you got to get Rosario out of the way before you can start answering some of those questions.
And
Every time they want to get rid of him, he come up to the plate and hit a clutch hit.
What would you say on the field are premier positions? Like
Third base.
Like to me, it's like shortstop and center field, right?
Third
What do you mean by
base.
premier?
Like okay, you need like a wing, like you say, a wing defender in basketball. That's a 3-and-D guy linked to play defense.
So in baseball, when you're setting up your team, you have to be strong defensively up the middle. That's number one. Catcher, shortstop, center field. Like those three spots, you've got to be sound defensively or you have no chance.
So if you look at it, if you say catcher, shortstop.
Or if you're going to go with Piazza at catcher, a guy who can't, you better be a Hall of Fame hitter.
Okay.
But ideally, you want to be strong defensively right up the middle, catcher, shortstop, and center field.
And so when I look at those positions, you look at some of the greats, like guys that are like Griffey, or you got guys like A-Rod at shortstop.
Man, that might be our weakest position.
Those are our weakest positions.
No, I said defensively. You want to be strong up the middle defensively, catcher, shortstop, center field. Now center field, obviously, with Miles.
Miles is really good.
Yeah.
As a center
Shortstop,
fielder.
Ahmed is very average. He's gotten better.
Yeah.
But he's average.
Generally speaking,
And
right?
Bo Naylor, we just don't know
Take a
yet.
look at the like. When I look at center fielder to me is like, okay, he's the third hitter, fourth hitter, somewhere in that.
He's not a two-way. He defense.
No, he's not. So Rosario, you got a shortstop. I need my shortstop to be premier. I need him to hit.
He come through.
I need him to steal bases and be
Now
a
he ain't stealing no bases.
Usually, first base and left field is where you can hide guys that aren't great defensively. Right field, you want somebody with a really strong arm to make the throw from the corner to third base. Or, you put the strongest arm traditionally in right field, your best athlete obviously in center field, and then you can hide a guy in left field if you need to. First base is where you can hide guys occasionally, that aren't the greatest defenders. That's just the basics of how you build a team.
See, we hide guys in every position in the outfield. We hide you in the lineup. No, really, I'm not hiding.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I just don't think.
You making it worse than what it is. You making it sound way worse than what it actually is.
They are watchable, and because they're watchable because they're a likable group of guys. We like going to the ballpark. But for any serious baseball guy, if you talk to them, they know they don't have a shot as constituted. And I don't know if it's do you think that's their philosophy, or it's just they have swung and missed on some of the people that they thought were going to upgrade?
Well, they've swung and missed for sure. Like, they've made a lot of bad decisions. We talked about it. Like, moving on from Nolan Jones and Will Benson right now look like mistakes. But part of that was because the 40-man roster and the way it was constructed, and they had to make decisions on some of these guys. But they need 2 new corner outfielders. I'd love to see Quan in center field, Brennan as the 4th outfielder, and Miles Straw. I don't know what you do with it at this point. But they've. Are you going to find 2 corner outfielders in the next couple of days? Probably not. Certainly not. I mean, if we're for the Mark Canna conversation, or someone like who's a rental, who's an upgrade but not a dramatic upgrade, those are the type of moves that they have shied away from in the past because they would rather get a look at their own guys. So then get a look at your own guys and get Oscar back up here. I'd make a move for a Dylan Carlson or a Joe Adell or someone like that, who it's a prospects for prospects type deal, possibly. Maybe it's a sell move with Savali. If the Angels decide that they're going to stay in this now and go for it, Adell becomes a little bit more available now because now you're trying to build pieces around Ohtani and Trout and what you've got there. And that may be a move. I think Ken Rosenthal, somebody just wrote a couple days ago that the Angels seem to be making now more calls in terms of being a buyer rather than a seller. So a lot of teams will take this right up until the last couple of days. I think it's more than likely. I just think it's a situation where the Guardians probably just stand pat. I just don't know that there's anything out there.
They do what they always do.
No, they're usually pretty aggressive around the trade deadline. They are. But
I know an aggressive move they can make.
Oh, Lord. I just don't know that this year it makes a lot of sense. I think Chris Antonetti went on MLB radio and said they may look for an outfield type of bat at a low, I'm guessing it would be at a low cost. It feels like a lost year for a lot of reasons.
Okay, so not Shohei. All right, I understand that's blasphemy. Manny Machado.
All right,
They can't afford Manny Machado.
we're gonna go. We're gonna. Anthony
That was
has
our
a
baseball
poll.
segment today, everybody.
Anthony has a poll for us as we transition from Tyvis's trade machine.
Yeah, whenever we do a poll, it is brought to you by PCC Airfoils. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio, and all locations of PCC Airfoils in Menor, East Lake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, get great benefit package, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. So, guys, we got a poll out here for who we thought in the production team were going to be the top 4 targets for the Guardians, and we wanted to see what the people thought about and who they wanted the most. Out of Lars Nootbaar, Mark Cannon, and Taylor Ward.
Canna?
What was that?
Mark Canna.
I like Kanan better.
The headphone echo is really killing me back here. Ryan McMahon won with 40% from the Rockies.
Well, McMahon's an infielder. I don't know where he really fits. He's primarily a third baseman. He can play over in the infield. I guess maybe you move him to second, slide Jimenez to short. They need more outfielders than infielders. But McMahon probably is going to get dealt.
Yeah, good
From
power.
Colorado.
Yeah, we'll, he has decent power. I'll take that. Actually, to be truthful, I need an outfielder. I don't like that. We got what? 12:40. We cooking.
It's 12:40, and I have been waiting for this all day. So up next,
What is wrong with you?
we have Tyvis's softball package.
Listen,
this is a first for us.
It's an imposter. That's my twin brother that was out
Yeah,
there.
okay. Well, we'll let the people decide. We're going to play this package here, Steve, when you're ready. You can take it, and we are going to just let our package speak. We're going to let our video speak for itself.
Oh, yeah, let's get into this one. Yeah, I need that.
Listen, this is an
I
imposter.
heard Tyvis Powell can beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. I also heard that he can strike out Babe Ruth left-handed.
They say that boy Tyvis Powell. They say that boy can turn water into wine. No boy.
I'm hearing from pretty good, reliable sources that the signs in Columbus, rather than saying welcome to Columbus, I say welcome to Powell Town.
Hi, my name is Sink Nub. Is Tyvis Powell the greatest athlete to ever walk the face of the earth? This is UCSS Investigates.
What's going on? It's your boy Tyvis Powell, man, and y'all about to find out today. Have you heard of Bo Jackson? Oh, you ain't seen nothing until you see me in action. Ken Griffey III in live effect. I'm going to yard every time I touch the plate. Book it. It's like my glove too small now. I feel like my hand got bigger. I made a mistake not wearing glasses because that sun is right there. Now, it ain't crazy enough to stop me from catching the ball because that's not going to happen. I'm going to catch it. Oh. Man, I'm off.
Man, look, this ball
I
into
got
his...
my drops out the way.
Oh, that's
I got it. Oh, shit.
I got it.
That's a damn shame, McNuggets. It's a damn shame. A question in my athleticism. It's hard to run full speed and get the ball at the same time. So it was a mistake, man. You know? The thing about it is, right now, I'm so rock bottom in this game that there's nowhere for me to go but up.
Tyvis was a defensive player in the NFL, but on the diamond, he's known for his offense.
I've never batted lower than fourth in my life. I'm swinging for the fence. They talking about just get on base. I'm going for it all. You know, I'm going to go out here and hit these home runs, and they're going to realize they made a mistake, you know? Next year, there's no doubt that I'm going to be fourth. Damn.
Double play!
I was too anxious.
Even the GOATs have an off day from time to time, and today,
Just
certainly
keep running.
an off day for Mr. Powell. As for the question of whether or not Tyvis truly is the GOAT, well, I think we can finally put this one to bed.
I should have waited. I got to wait on my pitch.
She's like, get that. I'm Sink Nub, and this is UCS Investigates.
Oh my God!
So
You grounded into a double play.
Listen, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me tell my story. Wait a minute. Can I tell my story? Can I tell my story? Thank you, Steve. So It's a lot that goes into. Which one you want to hear about first?
That fly ball.
Okay.
I'm gonna start calling you DP instead of TP.
Why he had 2 hands up like he was?
Look. So the fly ball is this. All right. So he hits it right, and it's right behind second base. So it's like close. So I'm thinking, I'm the second baseman gonna get it because I'm deep in the outfield. All right. So I come up there and I'm flying. And I see 3 bodies, coming in my peripheral. So obviously I'm looking at the ball. I see the 3 bodies, and ain't nobody saying that. So I'm like, well, I guess I got it. I didn't put the brakes on. Like I ran past where the ball was going to drop because I was just moving. When you run 4-4, you just can't just stop on a dime. So you see that? I ran past where the ball was going to be. So that's what happened there. But as far as the bat goes, so this what happened with the bat. So they had me batting like 10th, right?
God.
It was like 15 people in the thing. So it was like I'm batting 10th.
I can't breathe.
And I'm anxious. I ain't been able, I've been ready to hit, but I ain't, So I get up to the plate. I get up to the plate, and I should have waited for my pitch. But I couldn't wait. Like, I just couldn't. Like, I was ready to get it because I wanted to send this ball. And the pitch was so bad. Can I see the swing? Like, I'm leaning back. I'm swatting at the thing. It was just, I wasn't anxious. And I only got 1 time at bat, so it really, it's slanted. Like, the whole video is slanted because I only had 1 opportunity to catch a ball. I only had 1 bat. So, like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't fair. It's not fair. It's really not fair.
I've never seen this dude make so many excuses.
It ain't fair. What?
He got a reason for everything.
It ain't fair. Is it fair that I only got 1 opportunity?
Can you wait for a pitch in softball?
Yeah, you can wait. You can sit up there and take 30 pitches until you get the one you want.
Show that one more. The first base coach was absolutely disgusted. Who was that?
Cardell.
He was.
Your man.
He was thoroughly disgusted with you. Watch the first base coach. Watch Cardell in this.
Good too. Look, I've been hitting the weights. Albert Bell is who I was trying to be like. It just didn't go that way.
Boy, my throat is sore from laughing.
Listen, look, the whole game. Look, you see that? I'm leaning back. It was.
Watch Cardell. Watch Cardell on the right side. Watch Cardell. You gotta be kidding me.
No, he was disgusted because he said, right before I walked out, he said, just get on base. I don't need you swinging for the fence. I need you getting on base. So what happened is.
See what happened.
So what happened was after we had that conversation, they walked up to me with the microphone and they like, "What are your plans?" And I'm like, "I ain't no punk. What you talking? Get on. But like that's a given. Like getting on base was the last.
It's not.
It was the last thing on my mind. I wasn't even thinking.
Well, I guess it should have been the first.
Bro.
So y'all act like y'all just perfect. Look, I never said that I was perfect. I never came on this show and said that I was perfect.
I feel like we can go through the records and find somewhere where you say you're perfect.
How did you not beat that out?
I'm not perfect.
How did you not beat that? He Omar Vizquel'd you, bro.
So I didn't beat it out. You know how when you hit it.
Come on.
You know how when you make contact with the ball, with the baseball, right? I watched where it went, and I was so defeated that it didn't go the way because in my mind, I played this over like 12 times before I got to the plate. Like, I got up to pointed out where it was going to go and everything. And when it didn't do that, I was so defeated that I forgot to run the first base. So, yeah, I did.
Who was the shortstop? Who turned it on you?
I think it was it was an offensive line. It might have been offensive lineman, defensive lineman. Lineman. It was a lineman for sure.
What was
a
that
lineman
for?
turned 2 on you?
Yeah.
That looked like Kurt Coleman.
But see, they work out every day. Look at it.
That's Kurt Coleman or something.
Look at that. Boom.
And he had the leg kick. You out of here. And Cardell's on.
Cardell can't talk because when listen. So let me give y'all the whole thing. So yeah, I was bad. But this is the thing. We scored 1 run as a team. Like, so everybody was bad. The final score was 5. It finished because they had like these these minor leaguers come in and they was just hitting home runs, and every home run counted to your total score. So like the score ended up being like 19-14 or something like that, 19-15 or something like that. But they only scored 5, and we only scored 1. So it's not like I'm the only. We went through our lineup maybe once. I didn't even get to me again.
So you say you was going against Verlander? Okay.
Yeah, man. No, this that right there. That was the big unit up there. I don't know what you talking about.
What was that for?
Cardell throws a charity softball game for the Buckeye Cruise for cancer, so it raises money for the James Cancer Research. It's been going on. That was year 6. That was my 3rd time playing in it. The first year I went yard. Last year I didn't go yard. I went 1 for 2 and I got on base. This year it didn't go well.
It was not your day.
Yeah, no. And you know what? This is the sickest part about it. And I hate this. So the next day I'm sore after this. I wake up the next day. You know, my wife, y'all know. So y'all out there that's married, y'all know that y'all significant other is y'all biggest hater, right? Yeah. So my wife was like, I ain't even gonna say nothing to you because you already know how pitiful that is. so I had to hear it from her. But this is the worst part about it. It wasn't the fact that I missed the fly ball. It wasn't the fact that I went 0 for 1 for the plate. The worst part about all of this is I didn't care. And that tells a lot about, because me being the competitive person I am, it speaks volumes when I didn't even care. I don't care.
You're growing up.
I don't even care.
You're growing up.
It's sad. I don't even know who I am, because I should really feel. It would have been a point in my life where if this would have happened to me, I would have told them to hit me 20 fly balls after this game. I would have stood at that plate and took 100 swings, but I didn't care. Gee, it's a shame. I ain't even 30 yet, and I don't care.
Growing up, we got more important things to worry about.
I've already used my energy laughing. Anthony, what do we have left?
All right, so guys, we got 10 minutes left. Do you guys want to do final takes, or do you guys want to hear some shark facts?
Shark facts.
Shark facts. All right, so Steve, you want to take top 5 here. We'll get this started. This is my top 5 most terrifying sharks. It's Shark Week. I did some research for about 15 minutes this morning, so we'll take them here.
Solid 15. Top 5.
I put as much effort into this top 5 as Tyvis did into his swing.
Listen,
wait a minute. The swing was great. I hit 2 in batting practice. I hit 2 home runs. I took 4 swings. 2 of them went over the fence. I put the bat down.
That was undocumented Shark Week.
Okay.
So
McNuggets is there.
Yeah, McNuggets isn't here right now to talk about it. He's upstairs hiding from all of us. So number 5 is our tiger shark.
Okay.
So some fun facts about the tiger shark. He can grow up to 18 feet long. Can get 2,000 pounds. They eat basically everything, including other sharks, and they live off coastal waters, so they're not far from humans.
Never trust something that will eat his own kind. Don't trust
the
it.
tiger shark.
Yeah, that's crazy. Eat other sharks.
You know what the crazy thing is? I have no aspirations to be anywhere where sharks can be.
But that's because it's innate to our genes.
But people be out there surfing and all kind of stuff.
Not us.
Jason, you a surfer?
Do I look like a surfer?
Would you ever want
to? I think I would go dive for sharks. I'll represent the white population.
You want to go
I would
dive
go
for sharks?
Yeah. I've seen them
have
snorkel
you
with sharks and
seen
stuff.
Jaws?
I got a friend of mine who, I mean, we used to be friends. That's what she loved to do, was get in a cage and go down and.
Has she seen 47 meters down?
I don't know, but she loves.
Is that the name of the movie?
I don't even know what that is.
Where they get in the cage and they drop down.
I'm cool.
And then the shark bangs the cage and knocks it open.
Well, sure, there's that.
No, ain't none of that. I ain't doing that. No, I'm not. If I can't walk, I ain't going.
White people do.
Yeah, thank you.
We do some
Thank
crazy
you.
stuff.
Hey, listen, we had shout out to my brother. Brother Jason, for coming forward and stepping forward, talking for his community.
Well, I walked in and said, "Are we doing the Oreo today or what?" Am I in the middle? You got the white guy in the middle.
Black people will not get eaten by. We do eat Oreos. But go ahead.
All right, so number 4 is a shark I'd never heard of before till today. It's called the megamouth shark. It's not terrifying in practice, but it looks really creepy. It can grow up to about 23 feet long, get 2,700 pounds. It eats mostly plankton, but it still also lives very close to the coast. So if you run into one of those, I'm running.
Are you saying that they won't really eat people? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think so.
We don't know that for sure.
I'm not. I tell you, I'm not gonna find out. You're not gonna experiment
why don't you
with
go
me.
talk to him?
Yeah, no, I'm good. You know,
Right.
after what that thing that just after that submarine incident, I ain't want to even get on no boat. I'm cool.
Did you see the movie Open Water?
No.
That one will freak you out.
Oh,
What happened in that?
The white people
yeah, there it is.
go scuba diving,
Yeah.
and they come back up, and the boat's gone.
Yes.
Oh my
disappeared.
God!
True story.
It was at nighttime.
No, no.
Oh
It got to be
my
nighttime.
God! In the middle of the ocean.
It got
Go
to
watch-
be nighttime.
Oh my God!
Go watch
You
Open
talk
Water.
about scared.
Go watch and it does not have a good ending.
Oh my God!
It's like
fantastic.
the one, like if you watched it, Into the Wild.
What's the name of it?
Open Water.
I will go watch that.
Go watch
Oh,
Open Water.
There's a movie Into the Wild about this kid who just goes off. He's smart. He leaves college. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen
Oh
it.
God, listen, and it ends. I like movies that end bad. Like, don't try to give people false security that if you take your dumb ass out in the water, you won't get eaten too. You will all by attention. You can get 8-2 sharks. They don't communicate via the internet. Like, let them slide.
There was a shark. We went to Destin last year for vacations, Florida Panhandle. Beautiful. Great spot, Navarre Beach. We were in Navarre Beach. And a couple weeks ago, there was a shark at Navarre Beach, like right where we were last year. It was just a couple weeks ago. It's like,
Just
wow,
chilling.
we were just there.
just hanging out.
Just swimming.
Did he kill somebody?
Swimming with the peeps.
Was he
swimming with the
No.
See, here's the thing. I'll go like snorkeling with sharks in the really shallow water. Hold on. I don't mess with the woods. No. I don't mess with the woods.
As long as it ain't no bears out there, I'm good.
Bears are always there.
I ain't going there. Listen, I'm not a nature guy, you know.
The bears
I
are
don't
what
want
we
to.
know are out
I
there.
don't want to go camping. I don't want to go scuba diving. I don't want to do none of that.
Did I ever tell you about the time I went almost drowned snorkeling and wound up on a boat full of Mexicans that didn't speak English?
What?
True story.
Why would you?
True story.
Well, first of all, that's your fault. That's
First of all, there's your final take that you said you had, Jason.
That's just bad
I wound up on a
planning.
boat full of Mexicans that didn't speak English in Mexico.
So how did they save you?
I was just like this. We're just bobbing up and down. They were looking at me, and I was looking at them, and nobody said a word. I didn't speak Spanish, and they didn't speak English.
So you didn't
I
give
knocked the kid off the ladder to get on the boat.
But if you come your dumbass over here with that boat and lift me up out of the water,
So
we got a problem.
30 seconds. I'll condense this down to 30 seconds. We were in where were we? In Mexico. Where were we? Cancun. We were in Cancun.
I knew it.
And we're snorkeling in Cancun. My wife and I are snorkeling in Cancun. I think this was like 2016. And I hadn't eaten anything all day. And I was hot. I was starving. And they said, okay, well, now we're going to, and like, we get to this boat to go snorkeling. The whole thing was shady. And they jump on this other boat and they get the snorkeling gear. And I'm like, well, there's no way that's clean. And they hand it to us. Like, nobody can speak English. And we're out on this boat with like all these people from around the world. And this boat takes us out, and they said, all right, jump. Okay, snorkel. Okay, we're going to swim, like, all the way over here now. And the water is, like, 40 feet deep. Like, this is not your normal snorkeling experience. And I just started going. And we had life jackets on, but the life jacket was too big. And I started going down. And I'm like, I'm going to die in Mexico snorkeling. This is how I'm going to go out. And my wife was a lifeguard. And she came over and she's like, I could save you. I'm like, no, save yourself. We have children at home. They can't be parentless. I'm just going to die here. You go save your. She's like, you're really overreacting.
Yeah, here.
It was scary. In the moment, it was scary. So
You didn't want to be manhandled by your wife? That's what it was. He ain't want nobody to get him on film. So his wife
Hold him back.
So the boat took off. Our boat took off. And I found this other boat. So I'm swimming over this other boat. I'm like, that's the one I'm going to. And there was this kid coming up the ladder, and I knocked him off the ladder. I climb up the boat, and I'm sitting there. So she swims to our boat, and all the other people are like, where's your husband? She's like, I don't know. And she goes, they go, are you going to go get him? I'm like, I don't know. So our boat finally circled back around, and I had to jump off the Mexican's boat and swim across the water back into our boat. It was humiliating. It was horrible.
Yeah, that's right there is why I'm good.
All right, so we got to fly through these
All
other
right,
ones. So
sorry.
that story was definitely worth it.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Number 3, great white shark. It's not actually as scary as it looks, even though it can get to 6,000 pounds. It gets a bad rap because of jaws. They're not aggressive sharks. They only hunt opportunistically, which means like if you're just laying there, they'll take you. But
You just happen to be in the water swimming, they'll
you
take
believe that if you want to.
Go ahead.
I'm not doing that. No.
Number 2, creepiest shark I've ever seen, goblin shark. They don't even know anything about it. It lives at the bottom of the ocean. It can unhinge its entire jaw when it eats.
Oh,
I don't
Lord.
want to ever encounter one.
I'd shoot it.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, this thing is horrifying.
I'd
And
shoot
number
it.
1 might be the scariest on this list.
Hammerhead.
They're known to be friendly to Bengal cats for whatever reason. They're found primarily in Northeast Ohio, and they will attack at any mention of Baker Mayfield.
Oh, that's awesome. The bullshit.
That
actually is a great
Yeah,
one.
that's a great one, by the way, man. Listen, that's a funny show today, man. What do you got? Who we got left?
That was it from me. We're gonna have we have no guests tomorrow, but we're gonna preview our post game show panel tomorrow. We got G, Mike, and Earl out there with me producing, and then tonight we've got Behind the Glass at 7:15. You can come check out Mike, Earl, and I live on the UCSS, and we're gonna talk about some contracts for the NFL.
All right. Well, until we can get back to that, make sure you go check them out. Give them like. I'll be in the comment section over there checking y'all out. Make sure you check it at UCSS. Subscribe to that so you can get that when they come out. In overtime, do we have a great topic? Are we doing fan questions or what are we doing in overtime?
That's a great question. I got to come up with something for overtime.
Overtime. We forgot you didn't have it, but.
We'll talk about my snorkeling experience.
Yes, we can talk about all the things Jason has done that black people won't do.